Radio Scotland. This is Sports Sound, full live commentary of the one remaining SPFL fixture for the weekend. It's a big one. It's Kilmarnock against Celtic. It's live here on Sports Sound with our commentary team of Stephen McKinn, Pat Bonner and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Richard. Good afternoon, everyone. Celtic down in wet Ayrshire, looking to stretch the lead back out to 8 points, with Rangers having beaten Dundee yesterday at Ibrox. Of course, Celtic will have played a game more by close of play here, but they want to try and crank up the pressure, keep that gap strong ahead of the Old Firm match to come before the end of the year. As for Kilmarnock, they're back where they're strongest at home, having picked up their first away win of the season at the 8th attempt at Pittodrie on Wednesday night, only their third in 27 since promotion 18 months ago. They've already beaten Celtic here at Rugby Park this season in the League Cup last 16. And Derek McInnes, he said it after the win at Aberdeen, he feels like they're a different animal this season. He feels like they can give the big boys a bloody nose, and they've proved it, especially here, beating Rangers on the opening day as well. They did lose their last home game to Hearts, but they were arguably unlucky to do so, and they are firmly in the mix as we approach the halfway point in the season for the top 6, and that's where Derek McInnes will want his side to be. And all the players are switching ends here, and they're going to, well, I think Celtic maybe have wanted to switch ends, or Kilmarnock. Either way, Celtic will be shooting from right to left to the Chadwick stand in order to they're shooting towards their own fans as they do their huddle now. They'll line up with Hart in goal. Phillips, who comes in for Cameron Carter-Vickers, who Brendan Rodgers said pre-match is just being left out today as a precaution. He should be fit for Feyenoord in the Champions League on Wednesday. So Phillips, partner Scales, Taylor and Johnston, the usual fullbacks. Iwata continues in midfield with McGregor and O'Reilly, with Mikey Johnston and Luis Palma either side of Hyun-Gyu Oh. Kilmarnock with a couple of changes as well. Dennis in goal, Mayo, Finlay and Dees, a familiar back three who've been fairly solid, 4th best defence in the country this season. Before a ball was kicked this weekend, Lyons, Donnelly, Polworth in midfield, David Watson is suspended, Armstrong and Dab on the flanks, and Vassell and Kennedy will do their best to attack the Celtic defence as we kick off, and Celtic immediately play the ball forward, and it's cleared out for a throw-in on this near side. Celtic did beat Kilmarnock at Celtic Park after that defeat here in the League Cup. Ultimately very disappointing early in the season. Brendan Rodgers did say reckons they're in a much better place than they were then. He wasn't long in the door. Signings still hadn't been completed and things, but still a disappointing cup exit, which they've managed to shake off and top the league as Kilmarnock win the ball, and Armstrong crosses the halfway line, loses out to McGregor and up to Palma, who's completely miscued a pass out the pitch, which is a frustrating one for the Celtic manager who's standing right in front of him.
Kilmarnock have changed shape for this game. They've gone with a flat 4 at the back, 5 across the midfield. Looks like Polworth's going to play off with Iwata, and as I said, with the 2 inverted wingers with Kennedy and Danny Armstrong just off of supporting Kyle Vassell up front.
And that is a big change. You know, he hasn't done that for a while, I'm sure. Maybe late in games or whatever, but certainly to start against Celtic and the 2 centre halves will, I think maybe because O's in the team also, and he realises he can maybe they can see him in front. He's not going to be maybe darting in behind him the way that Kyogo would do.
Yeah, interesting tweak, guys have pointed out, from Derek McInnes, and O is standing in front of Will Dennis as he tries to clear the ball downfield. Eventually gets it away. Phillips heads it up in the air, and then Mikey Johnson tries to lay it into the path of Alistair Johnson, but it's picked off by Kennedy. And now here's Donnelly back to Finlay. Interesting words about Mikey Johnston post-match during the week. Brendan Rodgers said he has to do more on his starting games. Made a huge impact on at half-time at McDiarmid Park, helped transform things for Celtic, but some fairly pointed comments from the manager saying he's got to do more. He's not a young player, he's 24. And it's a long ball for Kilmarnock to chase. Armstrong almost in, but Scales came across and prods it away to Taylor on the left touchline. Back to Scales and to Hart, who's on his own goal line. Rolls it across to Nat Phillips, looks up, strides out of his box, chips it forward for O, goes over the striker, and it'll go through for Lewis. Mayo puts the foot through it. Phillips battling with Vassell, who can't take it under control, falls for Scales. On to Taylor, started every game this season for Celtic. Him and Callum McGregor the only ones to do so. Going to the well again. Here's Phillips, Passing up to O, first time back, bobbling ball to Phillips, and then he skewed it up in the air. Taylor will control in his own half and then knocks it round Danny Armstrong, and he goes for the lofted pass down the wing to Palma, and Mayo comes in and gets a tackle, and he prevents the corner as well, out for a throw-in. We've nearly played 3 minutes. It's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, it's interesting, obviously Kilmarnock going a little bit long early on in the game, just knocking it up there and trying to put a bit of pressure on Phillips and Scales. They've dealt with it okay so far, but I wonder, was that going to be a feature of the game? And then they get the support from Polworth and the other midfielders. Obviously got that pace in the wide areas from Kennedy and from Daniel Armstrong. But
here is McGregor. He's in the Kilmarnock half. He's forced to turn back under pressure from Lyons. Phillips, heavy touch in front of him. Then Alistair Johnson, who tries to squeeze it through a gap, and he does, and he's caught late. And Celtic will have the free kick in the centre circle.
They're playing on the front foot though, Kilmarnock. You could see the square pass, and 3 of them are straight onto it, and although they give the foul away, they're so aggressive, they believe they can win the ball back from Celtic.
Celtic go short with the free kick out to the right hand side. It's Mikey Johnson, he darts in, he's into the box, he's under severe pressure, and then he's just nudged off the ball. Donnelly comes away with it. It's up to Vassell, he's crossing the halfway line out to the left touch line, he just runs out of room, and Celtic will get the throw in. Kyle Vassell will be a handful for Phillips and Scales. Phillips in particular, just his 3rd Premiership start of the season, fairly untested, not played too much since his arrival on loan from Liverpool. And here is Scales with the left foot pass to Palma, who's come infield as he likes to do. He's tried to chip it over to Mikey Johnson, headed away by Ndaba, only as far as Iwata, 20 yards out, up to the edge of the D, then gives it on to Mikey Johnson, and it's O'Reilly on the left foot, and he forces Dennis to make the save, pushes it round the post, and that's the threat Matt O'Reilly can cause.
Yeah, listen, I think he gave the goalkeeper the eyes that time. I thought he was going to bend it round the opposite side out to his right hand side, but he's obviously given the eyes and tried to take him on his near post, and Dennis stood up to it, and it was a decent save.
Corner to Celtic over on the far side. They don't score from any set pieces, but they did Wednesday night against Hibernian, but that one's right on top of the goalkeeper. He had to punch it up into the air. Taylor heads it back in. Phillips to O'Reilly, back to Alistair Johnston, who's tried to free Owen behind, but Robbie Dees will get there and puts it out for a Celtic throw-in.
I don't know about you, John or Stephen. I certainly think that was a brilliant corner played in there from Palma over that right, an outswinger, and the goalkeeper had made up his mind early, hadn't he? He was always going to punch it. Yeah,
he's got brilliant quality. It's very interesting the point I made earlier about Polworth instead of Rory McKenzie. You can see already Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor have been man-marked, but Iwata's going to be able to get off of Polworth at times today and do what he just did to Matt O'Reilly.
Here is O'Reilly on the right hand side, and it comes into the box, and there's a Celtic player on the stretch in the middle, and the goalkeeper Will Dennis takes it, but this is what Kilmarnock won't want, is Celtic to settle into a rhythm, and the rain on the surface will help them as well, try and pop it about.
Yeah, that was not an easy ball to take, I can tell you. He came in with pace from the right hand side from Matt O'Reilly, and he's almost gone with his almost caught it with his chest, and it was really out around about 5 yards, so he made a good decision to come and deal with it.
Cleared by Scales, and O'Reilly's taken that out the air wonderfully on the right foot, and then he's fouled inside his own half by Polworth, and referee David Monroe gives the free kick.
I think as much as we speak about Kilmarnock playing long at times, Celtic looks as if they're a bit more direct today. I don't think they're going to waste time in their own half. They look as if they're getting after Kilmarnock here.
Here's Phillips across the halfway line, goalless after 6.5 minutes at Rugby Park, the final Premiership game of the weekend, as Celtic look to move 8 points clear of Rangers once more. Here's Mikey Johnson on the right hand side, and he surges to the byline, digs in across the near post. Finlay gets a head on it, it drops the edge of the box, and Greg Taylor smashes it, blocked. Alistair Johnson, now Callum McGregor, right hand corner of the box, back out to Mikey Johnson, drops his shoulder, drives in field, he's into the area, shoots with the left foot. Another Kilmarnock player gets in the way, it's Donnelly this time. Alistair Johnson with the cross, it's deflected, it's causing havoc, and it spins out to the far side. Palma will go after it, it'll go behind for the Celtic throw. I mentioned Mikey Johnson, now Brendan Rodgers says he had to do more. This is the Mikey Johnson that we saw at McDermott Park.
I agree, and I did say before the game to Richard that just had an end product, not just getting crosses in, but also getting shots on target. Today he's cut in a few times, and he's had a couple of opportunities.
Here's McGregor for Celtic, left-hand side of the box, gives it to Taylor on the touchline. Greg Taylor up against his former club, of course, knocks it to McGregor. Into O's, and the penalty area, spins away, lays it into McGregor, who's going to roll it across the box, and it doesn't find Mikey Johnson, who was surging in there. And Kilmarnock just about survived, but Celtic have lifted the tempo in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, and it's something they can do with Owen, the team. They're able to can hold up the ball. Nice little knock off to Callum McGregor, and he runs, and it's a brilliant ball across. And Kilmarnock very unlucky to still be in the game here.
I'll tell you what, the goalkeeper got a touch on that one. It was a brilliant bit of play from Celtic. Lovely ball played and laid round the corner from McGregor, and the goalkeeper just got a nick on it as Mikey Johnson was flying into the box to tap in.
Yeah, good stuff from Will Dennis. He obviously had a difficult game last time here against Hearts, where he scored the own goal, but he has been a solid addition on the whole for Derek McInnes, on loan from Bournemouth. Crucial there. And here comes Scales stepping into the game midway through the Kilmarnock half onto McGregor, who's on the left wing. Gives it infield to Scales. O'Reilly's come across to offer an option. Scales stops. He gives it to O'Reilly in the box. He takes a touch. Then away from the defender. He shoots on the left foot. Dennis makes a save at the near post. Matt O'Reilly again threatening, and then wins the throw in off Danny Armstrong.
Yeah, it's good tempo from Celtic. They're keeping the goalkeeper busy. I've got to say, that's 2 or 3 saves. That one was straight at him. You would expect him to save it, but it's one of those that if it's hit low down at your feet, you have a chance. It was just a nice height that he could get his body in the way. But Celtic keeping the pressure on at the moment.
Scales is almost playing as a central midfielder at the moment. Gives it to Taylor, then to Palma on the left wing. He tries to put it through, but it's blocked by Armstrong. Then gives it back to Palma. He's going to cross, and a Kilmarnock boot goes on it, and it flies behind for a corner kick. Teasing, dangerous ball. It had to be dealt with.
One of the hardest things when you're playing a man-to-man system is players committing you and driving forward and making runs off the ball, and it's what Celtic are doing at the minute, and it's really hurting Kilmarnock.
Corner on the far side, 9.5 played. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0, but the champions playing with tempo, and the cross comes in from the corner. Phillips got something on it, couldn't connect properly.
It was a different corner, he just struck it. It was like a lovely one iron, just clipped into that box, and Nat Phillips had a free header. He's almost missed it, and it was a perfect height for him, and he should have done better, no doubt about it.
Almost as if he wasn't expecting it, but he made a meal of it, and it slipped through as Palma tries to take it on the run on the right hand side of the box. Kilmarnock scramble back, and Finlay clears it up the touchline. But this is one of the things, Stephen, when you play against Celtic and Rangers is, can you get the ball off them, and can you keep it when you get it? And Kilmarnock haven't seen it for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah. When they play like this, they're so difficult to play against, and it's how can you stem the flow? Can you try and kill the game? Can you try and slow the tempo down?
Here's Taylor. Fizzes it into O'Reilly. He's about 25 yards out, facing away from goal. Knocks it to Palma, then into Iwata, left hand side. Then O'Reilly's lofted one to the back post, and again Ndaba had to deal with it. He had to stick it behind for a corner because Mikey Johnston was lurking at the back post. Celtic with another chance to deliver from the far side.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the conditions are suiting Celtic, aren't they? They don't come down here too often when it's nice and wet and that drizzle's out there. They're knocking that ball, and I don't know, Stephen, you can tell us maybe after this corner, when you play on this pitch when it's wet, it's got to be defeat, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's skimming off the surface. And here comes the corner from Celtic, right foot again, it's clipped in. Again there's a header from Phillips, it's deflected, and then there's a knock back into the arms of Will Dennis. But Celtic causing a few problems from set pieces as well now. Will Dennis swallows that one up, and he can just eat up a few seconds and try and take the sting out of this game. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, what Packy was saying, you have to play to feet, but when you move the ball when it's wet like that it is today, it moves very fast, and when Celtic are so on top of it like they are, it's so hard to stem the flow, and what they just need to do is hang in. They've not gave away many goals this season, and their defence is going to have to stand up really strong to get through this period. Celtic
yet to lose in the Premiership this season, won 13 of their 16 games, but it was a good opportunity for Kilmarnock as Kennedy intercepts, and he's down the left, he's bobbing and weaving, but Celtic get back, and the tackle goes in from Mikey Johnson. He's given away the foul, and that's what Kilmarnock will be after. Free kick, almost in line with 18 yards.
Yeah, that's what you speak about. That one chance, Alistair Johnson gets caught in the ball. Matty Kennedy does great, buys a foul, and now all of a sudden Kilmarnock can put the ball into Celtic's box.
And this is where their danger, the real danger. They've got as Richard was saying before the game, they've got that height from the back. They'll go up, and Celtic have got to deal with this now. It'll be whipped in with pace in between that goalkeeper and the line of defenders.
Danny Armstrong is over the ball. He's got such good quality. He's got 7 assists this season. And Kilmarnock have aerial threats. Stuart Finley's in there, Donnelly's in there, Dees as well. Mayo's lurking on the edge at the back post. Polworth's staying out the box for now. Cross comes in with the left foot to the near post. It's headed away by Phillips, and then Palma hooks it clear down over the halfway line. Well, that had real pace on the cross from Danny Armstrong. Celtic defend it well at the near post, and then it breaks for Vassell on the edge. He's got Phillips in front of him, tries to find Kennedy, but it goes behind for a Celtic goal kick. It's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0. 13 minutes played in this Premiership match.
It was good defending, because that ball, you're almost running back towards your own goal. Your body shape, all you're doing is just getting almost a touch in it. You can't get real power in it, and I think if it was Nat Phillips, good defending.
And Phillips hits O, which is a good option because it gets Celtic out of some pressure. They've given it away through Scales, and Armstrong got it and he forced it back, and then a late tackle goes in on Polworth, but no free kick, says the referee. Celtic throw-in. David Monroe's not happy with the spot it was taken at, or taken too quickly or something, but now he blows the whistle.
He ended up throwing it from the exact same play.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the issue there was. On we go, up to O, takes it on the turn, just skips away from him though, and then Kilmarnock have it. Dees at the back, goes back to Stuart Finley, who scored the 90th minute winner the last time Kilmarnock beat Celtic in a league match back in the Steve Clarke era. And here are Kilmarnock with the ball in the centre circle. Kennedy gives it to Dees. Celtic is a youth player. Donnelly with a big switch of play, but he's got far too much on it. Armstrong puts his thumbs up. They like the idea. Execution was poor. Celtic throw in.
Yeah, both teams are playing obviously with wide guys. You know, that diagonal is on all the time from both of them, both teams, and the fullbacks will have to be on their toes. They'll have to get their distances right, their positions and their body shape right. Sometimes Alistair Johnson, you know, we've seen him in games when that ball is coming in from the opposite side, he does get a little bit square, and I'm sure they've talked to him about it, but naturally that's what he does, and he gets caught out a few times.
Here's Alistair Johnson, knocks it to McGregor, right footed pass from the captain, out to Johnston on the right touchline. He runs down the line and receives it from Johnson, back to Mikey Johnson now. He's trying to drop the shoulder, looks to come in field again, then lays it back off to Callum McGregor. Thinks about the little chip pass through, then he eventually does deliver it to O, who's at the byline, tries to cut it back. Dennis gets both palms on it and pushes it away, and Matty Kennedy picks up and fires it long, looking for Armstrong. Taylor gets to it first with a header. It's bubbling in midfield. Palma goes down. Polworth got a foot in, and Palma stayed on the deck. Polworth wasn't quite sure what the Celtic player was complaining about. It's up to Vassell. Phillips wins the header, and O'Reilly passes it back to Scales, and Celtic will just get the foot on the ball and try and reassert some control and keep the ball. O'Reilly back to Scales, on to Taylor, who's in that midfield position he often occupies. His long ball cut out by Mayo, who's playing it right back rather than right centre half, as the guys pointed out early on. Here's O'Reilly, lays it to Alistair Johnston on the right hand side in his own half, gives it back to Nat Phillips, who's seen a lot of the ball for Celtic. No Cameron Carter-Vickers, as we've mentioned, and he's gone with a big switch out to Palm on the left. Mayo heads it, and then Armstrong beats McGregor to the ball, and McGregor is penalised for the late shoulder to the Kilmarnock wide man, and it'll be a free kick on the touchline. Yeah,
that was that diagonal again from almost right to left. From Celtic's perspective, Mayo's getting it, picking up. He's a big tall lad, he's in a good position, he's dealt with most of that so far.
If you asked Eric McInnes, that's the type of pass he wants from Celtic. He wants to encourage Nat Phillips to hit big diagonals, big high ones that are going to defend all day. They'll just eat that up, that back four.
Derek McInnes has barely sat down in the opening 17 minutes of this game. He's furiously gesticulating. It's his 51st game as a manager against Celtic, more than he's faced any other team, and he's won just 7 of them. It's a fiendishly difficult thing to do, to beat Celtic, and it bounces unconvincingly, but Scales eventually gets something on it. But Kilmarnock have it. Lyons to Donnelly, back to Mayo, is on the halfway line, and he drives towards the centre circle, and then he knocks it all the way back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, Kilmarnock's got over that sticky patch, haven't they? You know, they survived. There was lots of chances for Celtic. Goalkeepers come up with decent saves, and now just settled back in the game. And they've got where they started, where they're playing balls up on top of Scales and Phillips and getting support up there. So they've settled back into the game.
Yeah, Kilmarnock looking to avoid rare these days, you have to say, back-to-back home defeats, having lost the Hearts last weekend. So obviously went to Tawdry and got a fantastic away win midweek, but the foundation of their success in staying up last season and so far this season has been their form at Rugby Park. Lost just 2 of 8 this season, that game against Hearts and Ross County in the league, which arguably should have been a draw after that incident where the whistle went before the equaliser went in incorrectly. And well, Ross County perhaps fortunate to get away with the 3 points on that occasion, and you can feel that they're confident. Kilmarnock back on home turf, and Vassell tries a little flick on, but there's no one to flick it to, and it goes to Joe Hart, the Celtic keeper.
Yeah, he's backing into Phillips, isn't he? And I would expect Phillips to come and win most of those balls. I think he's got the advantage of the height, but he's too tight on Vassell, and Vassell's just stopping him from jumping, and just step off him and go and attack the ball.
The confidence in defending comes from doing it over a long period. I mean, they very rarely give goals away. I think 4 goals in total in the last 5 games, only conceding 2. So the confidence in their defending would have gotten through that early spell.
Here's Mikey Johnson, dummies. He'll have space to deliver the cross. It's over Palma at the back post. They'll go out for a Kilmarnock throw-in on this near side. What did you make, Paki, of those comments from Brendan Rodgers about Mikey Johnson? They were fairly...
Yeah, no, I agree with him. You know, and the fact that he's given him a chance, he's got him in the team. He didn't think he would ever get a chance with Celtic again. He's now playing him in consecutive games, and 2 or 3 games, and that allows him to get, you know, a bit of confidence. But he also has to produce, and he has to produce from a wing play. I think Celtic were missing that. They'd obviously lost Jota. He's looking for somebody to almost take that mantle, come alive. Palma's done okay on this left-hand side. He's not a Mikey Johnson with those quick dancing feet, so I think he's right in what he says.
Phillips has strode all the way up from centre back to up towards the edge of the D. The Rugby Park crowd questioning the wisdom of their team allowing them to do that, and here goes Mikey Johnson, tries to get to the byline. Good work from Ndaba to cut out the crossing angle, and he has to turn away and give it back down the line to Callum McGregor. It's back with Nat Phillips, gives it to Callum McGregor. Nawata's asking for it, and he goes out to the right hand side, and Alistair Johnson puts it up to O, controls on the edge of the box, and then the flag was up against the Celtic striker for offside.
Must have been very tight, but he's shown well, isn't he, from both sides of the pitch. When the wingers get it, the fullbacks get it, he's coming across, and he's a target player.
He's anticipating the ball coming later than it's coming. He's got to, with the games, you're hoping it'll get into toe more with the Celtic players and always be available, never be offside. I mean, they're looking for you. You've got to be the focal point, you've got to be onside.
Up towards Vassell again, Phillips gets something on it, falls for Kennedy on the left wing, inside to Liam Donnelly, and it's a 1-2, gets it back. It's good from Kilmarnock keeping the ball, back to Stuart Finlay, left foot chips it forward, but he's chipped it to nobody because none of his teammates had made the run, and it's all the way through to Joe Hart, the goalkeeper. Yeah, Brendan Rodgers obviously talking about perhaps the more physical nature of the game here at Rugby Park, keeping on the team. He got 2 against Hibs, but Kyogo just 1-7 in the Premiership, 1-9 overall for Kyogo Furuhashi, probably his worst run since he came to Celtic.
Yeah, if he is playing that, and he is doing that so far as a target man, when the ball is on the opposite side or on one side, he comes to the ball, he's a man. But then a midfielder, they've got to get a wide guy on the opposite side getting into the box. They've got to get a midfielder making a run through the centre also, because he's never going to get back into the box to get on the end of a cross or so on.
Alistair Johnson just takes a little touch with the head back towards his own box, gives it to Scales. Matty Kennedy's putting them under pressure. It's back with Joe Hart, and the feet of Liam Scales. There was a big roar from the home crowd as Lewis Mayo kind of out-muscled Luis Palma on the halfway line, and Palma went down, thought he was fouled, and the referee just said You've been overpowered there, and let's play on, but home fans burst into life. It's a good challenge. Here's Scales for Palma on the left hand side. He's one-on-one with Mayo, looks to go outside then in, but the Kilmarnock defender watched it and got the foot in. It's a throw into Celtic on this near side. 22.5 minutes played at Rugby Park. It's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0. Back to Liam Scales, who's become a fixture in this Celtic team, having not featured in that defeat here against Kilmarnock in the League Cup last 16. Here's Phillips to Scales, just outside the centre circle. He's going to drive forward. Kilmarnock have dropped off slightly, and then the ball going to the box to Mikey Johnson. Touched it. Oh, he lashes it over the bar with the right foot. He's got his hands on his head. He thinks he should have done better there. And Celtic get in behind. 0-0 it remains though.
Yeah, it's a great run by Mikey Johnson, a great pick out from Scales. And just before that, I think the last situation that happened, you could see actually both of them talking to each other. I'm surprised that the Kilmarnock defenders didn't pick up on that, especially the left full back. He should have been on the inside of him, tracking him, and he had an opportunity even to take it on himself, I think, and finish. His first touch wasn't the best, but Oden came into the action and he couldn't get over the top of the ball.
Well, Dennis goes long, it's bouncing. Kennedy's making life difficult for Alistair Johnston in the Celtic box, and he's had to just put it out for a throw on the near side. And Kilmarnock get some good field position. That was just a simple straight ball. It bounced and skipped in behind, and Celtic had to force it out. Got them turned. 0-0. Sorry, Stephen, on you go.
Danny Armstrong with his ball prepared from the ball boy, freshly dry one.
Yeah, difficult to keep it dry in these conditions, but here is Armstrong, left foot delivery right on top of the goalkeeper, but comfortable enough take for Joe Hart. But that's Danny Armstrong's speciality, is checking back and then just whipping one straight in on top of the edge of the 6-yard box. Scales gives it to Iwata. Alistair Johnston infield, then passes it out to the wing to Mikey Johnson. Little shimmy, but doesn't get any change out of Indaba, so we'll start again at the back for Celtic. Scales, as he crosses the halfway line, takes a couple of touches, he's driving forward, looks to commit. Armstrong, who makes the challenge, and Scales manages to slide in and get it to McGregor, gives it in field to O'Reilly, lays it to Taylor in the box. Not much room for Greg Taylor to work with. He gives it to Palmer, jinks away from Armstrong. He's going to deliver with the right foot. It's deflected. Mayo gets the head on it, and it's going to bounce and run out. No, it's kept in by Lewis Mayo just as it looked like it was bouncing out for a throw in, and he's cleared it up the park, and it will be a Celtic throw about 50 yards further down the pitch.
Yeah, he did well, didn't he? You know, he stuck to his task there. He could have easily just thinking that's going to bounce out of play and either give away a throw in or a corner, but he went after it and kept it in.
Here's O'Reilly, gives it to Johnson, who was taking it on the run, and it was just behind him and he falls over, but O'Reilly has got the free kick. Kilmarnock are perplexed, but it's in line with the right hand corner of the box, 25 yards out, and a dangerous opportunity for Celtic to deliver, or maybe even Matt O'Reilly to have a go with the left foot.
Celtic they had a 5-minute spell where they maybe stopped having forward runs. All of a sudden that Mikey Johnson run sparked them back into life, and you start to make life really difficult for Kilmarnock players. You're maybe late over to things, and Liam Polworth was just late into Matt O'Reilly there.
Yeah, and O'Reilly and Lewis Palma are over the ball. O'Reilly with the left foot, Palma with the right. Doesn't look like he's... We'll see if he goes for the crosser shot here. He puts both arms up. Matt O'Reilly, it might be Palma. The referees making sure they're all behaving in the penalty area, and it's going to be O'Reilly, dinks it into the back post with the left foot, header from Scales, and then helped it back in, and Armstrong had to nod it behind for a Celtic corner.
Yeah, I was just looking at late run round the back. He wasn't picked up, Liam Scales, initially. Nobody, but I think it was Mayo that sort of read the flight of the ball and was able to put him off a little bit. But it was a free kind of run round the back.
And O'Reilly will come across and take this corner. He's gesturing to his teammates in the middle, and Scales is saying, not now. O'Reilly winding up. Celtic to deliver. O'Reilly with the left foot, it's into the 6-yard box. Donnelly's there to clear. Gives it to, falls for Taylor, then McGregor, then back to Alistair Johnston just outside the centre circle. He goes long with the right foot to O'Reilly. Left foot, first time cross. D slides in to cut it out, and Armstrong keeps it in just, and then it hits off the Celtic player, and it's behind for, well, I thought that was a goal kick, but it's gone out for the corner, say the officials. So Celtic with another chance to get a ball in the box. Here it comes, right foot from Johnson. Mayo heads it to the edge of the box. McGregor controls, gives it back to Mikey Johnson, who's on the left hand side. Feeds it through to Taylor just inside the area. Liam Donnelly got a foot in, and it'll be a throw in on this near side. Celtic with just a couple of chances. The O'Reilly one, the 0-1. One saved from Dennis, the other lashed over by O. Here's Scales at the back, passes it over halfway to Greg Taylor. Callum McGregor finds a run of O into the box. Flag stays down for now. O checks in on the right foot. It's O, and he smashes it over. He falls as he hit the shot. Such was the power they put through it, and then the flag eventually went up for offside in any case. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0, 28 minutes played. Yeah,
it looked offside. The home fans aren't happy, the linesman not putting his flag up early, but he's only doing his job. It was a great line, it was a great last step from Robbie Dees actually to catch him offside.
Yeah, he's gone too quick though, hasn't he? He was a mile offside, but even at that, when he does get on the ball and he cuts inside, you're expecting just to use his technique to bend that ball. There was a huge space for him to get an effort on target, and he blasted away over the crossbar.
Greg Taylor clears it up into the air. He scored in the reverse fixture at Celtic Park, the third in a 3-1 win for Celtic against his former club. Here's a throw in for Lewis Mayo. Gives it to the feet of Polworth, and McGregor cuts the return out. Throw in will be taken again from almost exactly the same spot. Lewis Mayo playing right back, gives it to Polworth, gets it back again. It hits off McGregor, but it'll break again for Mayo. Gives it to Dees, who goes high with a switch, but it's actually gone to the middle of the pitch, and Daba flips it towards Vassell, but Scales recovers the ball and gives it to McGregor, who's gone with a left-footed pass out to Mikey Johnson on the right-hand side. He's just inside the penalty area, crosses it in, and it's just gone past on, and it's off the post from Luis Palma from a tight angle on the far side. Brilliant attack from Celtic, and what a chance that was.
I think if Kyogo's playing, it's 1-0 to Celtic. O does great to get the other side of Robbie Dees there, but it's an absolute sitter.
I don't know how he missed it. You know, he is absolutely clear of the defence. There was no defender there, and almost it's just slided into the back of the net. He almost jumped kind of over the top of it, and then Palma did really well to get on the end of it when it comes way to the back post, and nearly deflects it first time into the back of the net. But O should be finishing that.
Well, in fact, it's interesting because Kyogo's obviously not in the best of form, but it's perhaps maybe because he's not getting as many chances like that where they're laid across the 6-yard box to him, and he's always there, and he'll be sitting on the bench thinking, if I had a chance like that, if only I had a chance like that, yeah, he wouldn't have missed from there. Here goes Celtic, just pinching it through Johnson. McGregor tries to play it down the right hand side, and the challenge goes in, but it runs behind for a goal kick to Kilmarnock. 0-0. We've played half an hour.
I don't know whether he took his eye off the ball or what, and then suddenly had to adjust, but there was nobody between him and the goalkeeper, and it looked as if you were just going to slide that ball into the back of the net. But I don't know what he did. Did he jump? Did he think he wasn't going to get to it, and then almost went knowing that he should have put it in the back of the net?
Yeah, the first bit brilliant. He uses his body great to almost give him the tap in. And take Kyogo out the equation. For him to be the long-term Celtic number 9, he's going to have to do better in those situations.
Yeah, Lyons wins the header for Kilmarnock in midfield as they go long. It falls for Polworth, who helps it along to Armstrong, but Scales intercepts out for a throw on this near side. Armstrong throws it to Polworth, turns away, then spins away from Palma, tries to chip it down the right-hand side, but it's blocked by Callum McGregor. Throw in, which Mayo will take, looks for an option again. Polworth shows for it, takes a touch, and he's managed to drive towards the direction of the box and loses out to O, and then comes back off O and spins to O'Reilly, breaks for Ndaba though, then to Brad Lyons. It just doesn't fall for him to take a shot if he wanted from about 20 yards out, and the cross comes in. Polworth's in there, and so is it's Danny Armstrong at the back post, and he somehow fails to force it home. And what a chance for Kilmarnock.
He's did everything right. He's made contact with it in half volley on his right foot, and you think it's 1-0 Kilmarnock. Matty Kennedy's in the team for that, to cut it back onto his right foot and put it in a dangerous area, and I don't know how Kilmarnock haven't scored.
Oh, that's two unbelievable chances from both ends. I think it was a difficult one because he's got to take it first time. He tried to keep it down, and it just crossed the goalkeeper up onto the. Did it hit the post and the crossbar?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
He fancied that, you know, I've seen him score those before. It was almost a way celebrating. He made good connection with it, and I don't know how it stayed out.
But that's what I was saying earlier. The full-backs need to get their body shape right. I know it was a great ball in, but he was unmarked at the back post, and that's where full-backs need to know where their opposition players are.
Here's Mikey Johnson infield. Cal McGregor on the D, checks back. He's going to hit it with the right foot. Low, Dennis save. O'Reilly turns it in. And Matt O'Reilly opens the scoring for Celtic. And that is what happens when you don't take your chances against the league leaders and champions. They go up the other end. McGregor shot saved, and Matt O'Reilly turns in his 9th Premiership goal of the season. It's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, McGregor on the edge of the box. He did brilliantly. First of all, I thought he was going to hit it with his left foot. Then he checks and pulls almost defenders all one way and creates an opening in the space for himself. It was a decent save from the goalkeeper. He just needs to knock it around the post, though. Don't let it come back out. And there was O'Reilly, as good midfielders, attacking midfielders do, getting into the box, following up, and then tapping it into the back of the net to put Celtic 1-0 up.
Packy says he thought Callum McGregor was going to hit out with his left foot. So did half of the Kilmarnock team. I think he sold half of them. They all dive to block the shot. They're that type of team. Callum McGregor gets a shot away. I agree, I think the goalkeeper needs to do better. He's put it in a plate for Matt O'Reilly, and that man again has added to his goal tally.
Sensational season on an individual level from Matt O'Reilly. He's Celtic's top scorer. So good at those late runs.
You know, Thomas, I think he just went off the ball for a couple of weeks there, 2 or 3 weeks, because he was in such unbelievable form of scoring. That goal now will help him to get back into it again. It's difficult to keep that going week after week, but that will definitely give him the confidence, and he'll be back up there. Yeah,
it was 4 games without a goal in the Premiership until McDermott Park, with the one where he smashes in with the right foot, and then he's now scored 3 games in a row. Back at it.
Callum McGregor's frustrated there with the linesman at how easily Kilmarnock players are going down, but that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to get free kicks round the box. They're looking to put it into Celtic's area, and I'm surprised it's not been the message. Don't give them any opportunity to buy fouls round the box.
And that's exactly what they've done. They've got the free kick on the right hand side, about 8-9 yards in from the right hand touchline. It's not too far away from the box. It's going to come in with the left foot from Armstrong. It's headed away by Taylor, only as far as Palma, and it's helped back in, and Joe Hart has to come and get a punch on it. It breaks to Ndaba, but the flag has gone up for offside against Kilmarnock, and Celtic will have the free kick. And Danny Armstrong, I just wonder what going through his head. It was a difficult chance the way it fell. He had to connect almost as it hit the turf first time.
It's almost half volley.
Yeah.
He's trying to get his body over it, and it's just lifted it slightly. But you know, it could easily went in the back of the net. It's off the cross. He's hit. Has he hit the target? Would we put that down as hitting the target?
I think technically not, but it feels harsh.
Everything but the target. But, I mean, the inverted wingers, the quality of it in terms of the cross coming into Matty Kennedy, that's what you get, the benefit of it. But also the other side of it, Danny Armstrong is coming in on his bad side. If that's on his left foot, it's 1-0 Kilmarnock.
Well, it's 1-0 Celtic. Matt O'Reilly's goal. The difference, Phillips strides forward from the back. He's nipped round Donnelly, and he's nipped away from Kennedy. Gives it to Mikey Johnson, whose cross is very heavy, and it flies behind for a goal kick to Kelly. Tennant McInnes, he's still out on the touchline. I've seen the fourth official trying to gently encourage him back into his technical area a few times. You can hear his hands on his head. He's so frustrated because they had made a pretty good start to the game, Kilmarnock.
They had, and then they went through that period where Celtic were really on top, and they had 3-4 chances and they couldn't put it away, and then they got back into it again, Kilmarnock, and really should have been probably taking the lead from that chance from Danny Armstrong, and then they find themselves that goal behind, which is incredible.
Here's Armstrong on the right hand side. He's trying to beat 2 Celtic players, gone between them. He's into the box on the left foot. Hartlow to make the save, and then Ndaba looks to turn it in. How's he not scored? How is Corey Ndaba not scored from 8 yards out? Oh, incredible.
Alistair Johnson, I think it was, that made the unbelievable block. This was a great bit of play from Danny Armstrong there, Stephen.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's what he wants to do. He faces you up. He's so aggressive in terms of his running power, and he puts a brilliant ball across. We spoke about the Kilmarnock goalkeeper maybe parrying it back into the danger. That's what Joe Hart does, but that's maybe one of the best blocks I've seen this season. I don't know how Alistair Johnson's kept that out from Corey and Bada.
Oh, Kilmarnock, 2 golden chances to score in this game, and yet they trail, but they'll take so much encouragement from this opening 37 minutes. Although they trail to Matt O'Reilly's goal as Celtic head it out of their own box. But it's just that sense this season, Packy, that Celtic are just a slightly more, they have injuries of course, but slightly more vulnerable team than they were last season.
Yeah, listen, I think Celtic over the years are always vulnerable defensively, even when I played, and that you need a bit of luck, and they've had luck today, and that. But again, you need defenders who are putting their body on the line, and that's what Alistair Johnson did there. It's easy just to give up on that, but that's what wins championships. You know, if you have a defence that's performing, and then you have got the quality high up the pitch, that's what gives you the edge over the other teams.
Your Scales and the green boots, left-footed, outside of the boot, short pass to Callum McGregor, who just knocks it straight back to Joe Hart, who's out his penalty area. Asks for a pass. Iwata drops in. Brendan Rodgers talking up Tomoki Iwata in his press conference this week, saying how he's trained, how patient he's been, his attitude spot on. Obviously scored his first Celtic goal at Tynecastle earlier this season, started against Hibs, and it's played up to O, who's turned, he's over the halfway line, heavy touch, but he's managed to recover. Out to Johnston on the right hand side, he's dropped the shoulder, he's breezed by Ndaba, who's recovered well, chops back on the left foot, then step over, then helps it in with the right foot, but it's onto the roof of the net, and that's what we're talking about. He's got such good footwork, he's a joy to watch, but the quality.
Absolutely, Thomas, that is the frustration. He had a chance to put that ball in early. He's done all the hard bit, he's been a fast feet, got by the defender and then checks back and then goes again and then doesn't quite have that end product.
That is a frustration, because there's 4 wingers in this pitch. The other 3 with that much space, that half yard, are putting the ball into a dangerous area. Mikey Johnson gets a half yard and he puts it out the park, and the frustration is he's just as talented, if not more talented than the other 3 wingers, and he still has those moments.
Here's Ndaba, who had that shot from 7 yards out, blocked by Johnston on the goal line. Thrown up to O'Reilly, who has had his shirt pulled and gets a free kick on the far touchline, much to the ire of the home fans, but it did have his shirt pulled. It was pretty blatant.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a yellow card for that one. I think in the modern day,
I think
that's what Callum McGregor's asking the referee, David Munro, I think.
Yeah, I think Liam Donnelly will be delighted. He stopped a potential counter-attack without a yellow card. I mean, it's a dream scenario.
Here's Iwata on halfway, gives it back to Nat Phillips. Out to Alistair Johnson on the right hand side, back to Phillips, and Iwata being marked by Lyons. Callum McGregor's floating about in there. It goes down the right hand touchline for Celtic. Tackle comes in and it goes out for a throw in. Celtic with the leads. Matt O'Reilly's goal in the 33rd minute after Callum McGregor's shot was rebounded to him.
The curse of the AstroTurf, you think it's going out but it actually doesn't go out, it stays in.
Did you say it was a soggy pitch today? Does AstroTurf get soggy?
I think I said it was a soggy stadium, so we'll go with that. But yeah, well, certainly Livingston looked soggy yesterday. You saw the pictures coming in from Hibs win. Oh, that's down the touchline to Palma, and a heavy challenge goes in from Brad Lyons, and it's going to be brought back. And the yellow card is out.
It's late and
right across his ankle as he's played the ball, and I don't think he's badly hurt, but it certainly was late, so I think yellow card for that one.
Tomoki Iwata, it was on the receiving end, and he's still down. And Japanese midfielder Brad Lyons will take his punishment.
I think it's risky even getting in like that anyway in the age of VAR. We've seen a couple of times in the Celtic Champions League games that they can result in red cards, so he's a lucky boy, I mean, in terms of he's keeping it low, but you need to stay on your feet, try and get close to Celtic players without going to ground. Yeah,
I'm not sure if it was high enough to be warranted a red card, just the timing was out.
41 minutes played, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
I just mean you can get sent off without having any malice in the tackle, so I just going to ground, I just don't like it at all.
And McGregor nudges Donnelly, who gets to his feet and reclaims the ball, and then Kennedy falls over, but he's going to get back to it as Johnson steams up, gets a touch on it, and it spins out for a throw into Kilmarnock on the far side. They're still in this game, Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the game, no team's given way here. You know, there's good tackles going in, heavy tackles at times. There's a good intensity of the game. There's been great chances in this first half for both teams.
The rain still tumbles from the dark sky here in Kilmarnock. And the home side are performing well, even though they trail, but it's given away, and it's Palma on the halfway line. Celtic get numbers forward, but the pass, is it going to go to O? It slid in from D's challenge he had to make out for a throw-in, because O was going to collect that on the edge of the box.
He made up, Stephen, didn't he, for he delayed on the ball. Actually, the first one, he was going to hit that diagonal pass, and he kind of was waiting, and he got intercepted, but he made up for it with that sliding tackle.
Yeah, I'll be relieved with Palma's choice of pass. It gave him the opportunity to rescue his own mistake.
Here's Alistair Johnston on the right hand side, gives it to Mikey Johnston. He's got two in front of him. Kennedy and Ndaba tries to run away from Kennedy, turns around, gives it to Johnson, who's facing in towards the goal on the right hand touchline. The two Johnsons just monopolising the ball for a spell here between them. Then back to Iwata, who's under pressure immediately from Polworth, but he uses his body well to keep possession. And it's back with Phillips, who's just over the halfway line for Celtic. Every Celtic player, bar the goalkeeper Joe Hart, is in the Kilmarnock half at the moment.
Yeah, just Celtic need just maybe a midfielder to make a few runs forward, beyond O at times. You know, everything's really in front of that back four at the moment.
Here's Johnston on the right hand side. He slips it to Alistair Johnson on the underlap, but Kennedy got across, and he's put it out for a Celtic corner on the far side. 2 minutes left of the 45 here at Rugby Park. The champions leading on course. Still plenty of this game to play to go 8 points clear again at the league summit. And they have a corner kick here over on the far side. It's going to come in from Palma with the right foot. It's a high one, and it's over everyone, and it bounces well over on the other side of the box. Poor delivery, and that'll be a Kilmarnock throw-in, but don't know what he was trying there.
I think he causes Brendan Rodgers a bit of frustration at times.
I think all his wingers do, the ones that are currently fit. Anyway, Yang as well at McDermott Park last week was hooked at half time.
I mean, the first corner in the match he puts in, it's world class, and then they progressively have got worse and leads to going straight out for a throw-in.
Lewis Palma, he's got a good goal return this season, 7 all competitions, and he's got 6 assists as well. Only O'Reilly has more he's got the most in the Premiership. Actually, O'Reilly's on 5. Lewis Palma, so can't say he's not productive, but yeah, it's not been consistent in terms of the delivery in this game for sure. Nor you can say the same on the other side for Mikey Johnston. But Celtic crucially have the lead, and we're into the final 30 seconds of the first half. We've not seen what is going to be added in terms of stoppage time yet, as Mikey Johnston midway through the Killie half comes right into the middle of the pitch, gives it to Iwata in the centre circle, then offloads to Scales, who drives forward, fizzes it into he was falling over as he took it. I'm not sure why. He wasn't under a great deal of pressure. And it goes through to Will Dennis, the Kilmarnock goalkeeper.
It's a decent ball in, you know. If he can almost turn and go on, you know, another stride, he was controlling and then have a shot. He's trying to hold it in when it wasn't on to hold in.
Long, Scales wins it ahead of Vassell. McGregor checks away from Lyons, and then he's just dinks it back to Joe Hart, the goalkeeper, who has it on the edge of his 6-yard box, gives it to Nat Phillips, and it's Long looking for Johnston, but Ndaba gets in front of him, and Killie have it midway through the Celtic half on the left hand side, and the cross comes in for Vassell. He's going to control it, he's going to hit it first time, and it's into the side net, and flag goes up, offside. Well, I saw him score one from there against Dunfermline way back in the League Cup group stages, and he absolutely blasted it into the corner, but he just went a wee bit too early there and didn't get the finish right this time either.
Yeah, that late flag again, isn't it? You know, could somebody please change that rule if he's so far offside?
Here's Ndaba for Kilmarnock.
I think Ndaba's winning his personal battle with Mikey Johnson, and that's twice in a row Celtic have kicked on to Mikey Johnson, and Corey Ndaba's able just to step right onto the game, and it's caused Celtic a bit of problems.
Yeah, but what Mikey should be doing there is going away and coming to the ball, creating a little bit of space and time for himself. Instead, he's just running back towards the ball, and he's not the strongest. He's not going to, stop Ndaba getting to it from a strength and physical perspective.
The Celtic would be looking for Mikey Johnson to be dictating to him, but it's almost as if Ndaba's dictating to Mikey Johnson.
And it's up to Vassell, who takes it on the turn. There's a claim for handball, and Phillips stopped, and that's allowed Vassell to take a couple of yards, and then Phillips dives in, and then
it's a handball.
It's a handball given. I think he's maybe got a word in his ear from the linesman on the far side, or the fourth official or something, and Paul Sheeran and David McInnes are remonstrating with the fourth official down in front of us because they think that could have been a penalty if it was not called back.
It's a Stonewall penalty, and the frustration will be if it's a handball, give it. He's let the play go on, and then he's blew for the... Let it go to VAR if you're going to play on, because if it goes to VAR and it's not a handball, it's a penalty to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I think it was a handball, but who actually has given him that? Is it the fourth official in his ear, or surely it's not VAR before they have a job to do afterwards?
No, it's all the officials are mic'd up to one another, so it could be the fourth official linesman, and Derek McInnes is going straight on the park here to speak to the referee, David Monroe, as the half-time whistle sounds at Rugby Park. Celtic have the leads. Matt O'Reilly with his 8th Premiership goal of the season, or 9th goal of the season I should say. And it was Callum McGregor's shot, right foot, he checked away, looked like he was going to thump it in with his left, checked back on the right, forced Dennis into the save. It fell to O'Reilly, who side-footed it into the roof of the net to give Celtic the lead. But Kilmarnock, well, they've been pretty good, you have to say, and they've carved out 2 fantastic opportunities. The first came before O'Reilly opened the scoring, as it went to the back post, and Armstrong was all alone. He took it first time as it hit the turf. It was a difficult one, but he maybe should have scored anyway, and it came back off the upright. And then after O'Reilly had put Celtic in front, Ndaba had a free shot 7-8 yards out in the box, side foot. It was heading for the bottom corner, but Alistair Johnson flung himself in front of it to keep Celtic's lead intact. But it's a fiercely competitive game, but at the moment it is the champions who have the advantage. Half-time, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
Winter on BBC Radio Scotland.
A very special time for those that celebrate Christmas.
What's it like just now?
The weather really is quite horrendous.
A place for news and views.
But is that something that you think would be beneficial as we head into winter?
The key here is vaccination.
With a seasonal soundtrack.
And some very well-loved carols.
And loads of Christmas cheer.
Oh, with a big dose of fairy dust on top.
This is like Christmas dinner.
Your uncle's drunk.
Sometimes things go wrong in Panto.
Excuse me.
Listen this winter on BBC Sounds.
Ho, ho, ho!
It all begins when you play BBC Radio Scotland.
So half-time at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1. Matt O'Reilly, what a productive season he is having. It's a 9th goal of the campaign, which separates the sides. I'll get to that big moment just at the end of the half shortly and chat with that with the guys. Just to a pointer though to what is still to come here. As soon as we are finished at 3 o'clock, off the ball with Stuart and Tam between 3 and 5. Highlights from all the weekend's Premiership action, including that game at Rugby Park tonight at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. The women's highlights, SWPL, that's Monday night, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock again on BBC Scotland. Listen out for the Scottish Football Daily podcast every day of the week, Monday to Friday, with the very latest happenings in Scottish football. And our live action a little bit later in the week, European triple header. Celtic against Feyenoord live on Sportsound on Wednesday night. And then Aberdeen against Eintracht Frankfurt. Real Betis against Rangers. Double bill then on Thursday night from 5 o'clock. So lots to look forward to, all live with us here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland. Stephen McGinn and Pat Bonner are with us this afternoon. They've been enjoying the first half there alongside Thomas Duncan. Just to clear up that break, right at the end of the half, it was a handball by Vassell. Yes, the referee did notice it and actually looked like he was about to blow there and then. But when Vassell gets away and Phillips makes the challenge, I know you guys felt it might have been a penalty. It was a wonderful tackle actually. It was as clean. It was as clean as a whistle. No touch on Vassell. Took the ball, 100% took the ball. So it was actually a very good recovery.
But Richard, why did the referee not blow there and then? That was the question we had.
Because you could see him getting ready to blow. Now maybe he just wants to let it run, but whatever.
Why would you want to let it run if it's a handball and a goal scorer, just to get the fans excited a little bit?
Well, I mean, it certainly got everyone excited, I think. But just to clarify, Nat Phillips made the challenge. It's been a lively first half, Pat, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. I've enjoyed it. Chances on both ends. Both ends getting the tackles in. They're going at each other. Obviously, conditions have helped. That period early on, Kilmarnock played the ball long, got up to Vassell and got good support. Didn't create anything really in that first period. And then Celtic took over and they had chance after chance. Goalkeeper doing well, but he didn't score, and that allowed Kilmarnock then to come back into it again, and playing those diagonals to the wingers, getting balls into the box, and then the big chances came, incredible chances. Richard, you can talk me through that one, please. You might have seen it on TV.
Mikey Johnson with a cross, and it's perfectly placed. He's 6 yards out. He just misses the ball completely. It's almost like he jumps. It was as if he almost jumped over it.
Yeah, I thought that.
Maybe felt Luis Palma was in a better position to score. Palma does really well, actually. You're not expecting your teammate to miss. He reacts and he gets the the volley in rather. And it strikes a near post. No, I mean, it's just the most incredible miss by O.
Yeah, I was shocked when I seen it. I didn't know what he did. Did he jump over it, or did he hesitate, or what did he do? But anyway, he missed it, and then goes up the other end, and Daniel Armstrong had a brilliant chance in the back post. You can't really criticise him too much, because he's almost, the ball's flying over to that back post, and he's got to take it first time, and he nearly put it back in net, and then of course Celtic do what they always do, up the other end and score, which is incredible. But it's been a really good game. You're right, Richard.
Yeah, actually that was a remarkable few seconds, because that all followed. There was the O miss, Stephen, and then Palmer hitting the post, and then that opportunity for Kilmarnock. I say opportunity, and it was an opportunity, I guess, but actually Danny Armstrong does just about everything right. He controls it beautifully. Yeah, and he's so unlucky.
I said in commentary, if that's on his left foot, there's no doubt it's a goal. I've seen him do that all the time in training. He's got brilliant quality in the final third. It's just on his right foot, and I think he's made great connection. He won't have changed how he's connected with the ball, and in another day it comes on off the post of the bar and goes into the goal, and he puts Kilmarnock in the lead. But the game's everything I thought it would be. Kelly have been really aggressive, really brave at times, and Celtic have been a different Celtic from last week against St Johnstone. They were very pedestrian, played a lot of square passes, very slow in their build-up. They got after Kilmarnock as well. They've asked a lot of questions of Kilmarnock's really good defence. They made third-man runs, and there's been really good openings, and it could be more than 1-0. Both teams obviously be disappointed with a couple of the chances.
Yeah, just in terms of Matt O'Reilly, he's been Celtic's player of the season, Stephen, so far, hasn't he? And it's incredible, the goal return, 7 league goals in the 2 previous seasons. That's 9 already, and we're not even halfway through this campaign.
No, listen, if you've got a midfielder that's scored that many goals, as a real bonus. Of course, Celtic are on the front foot most of the time, but it's his timing into the box. You could see what Callum McGregor was doing. A brilliant bit of play on the edge of the box where he almost dummies everybody. But then Matt O'Reilly reads it. He's not hanging back. He's in and after the ball, and as the goalkeeper pushes it out, he's there to finish. And they're the ones that you love. You don't have to think too much about him. Just get it on target and it's in the back of the net. But no, his contribution has been unbelievable. I thought he went just off the ball a wee bit just before the St Johnstone game, and there was a period there where I watched him and I think he just went off the ball. Maybe he was getting tired. Maybe
you have very high standards, Pat.
No, because of the way he was playing, and I know I agree with you. He just I hope that isn't his purple patch over, but he's come back again, and that's the sign of a really top-class player.
Richard, when Celtic signed Matt O'Reilly, his first spells under Ange Postecoglou, his first seasons, you're thinking, what's the catch here? He's got everything. He's came from England for 1.5 million, which we know it's a market it's almost impossible to do good business in. He's 6 foot, he's got a brilliant left foot, he's got great vision, he's a good team player, and you look, right, what is his flaw? Maybe he just doesn't score enough goals. And now he's a goal-scoring midfielder. You're thinking he is a full package, and all of a sudden he gets linked with these bigger teams. He's still at a young age. Can Celtic build the next next era of Celtic under Brendan Rodgers, can they build around Matt O'Reilly? Can they add to that to become more of a threat in the Champions League? Because it's all well and good just saying, okay, how much will Celtic get for him in the summer? Can they get another year or two of this player, because he's a real special talent?
So what you're saying there, Stephen, is that don't sell the players, build a team around the good players and keep them for a period to see can they do something. I've been saying this for a while, to be honest, because if you're going to be back in Europe, you've got to keep a hold of your better players and then bring in better quality.
Well, I mean, he is certainly right up there in terms of the quality he brings. Callum McGregor's been doing it for years and years, of course. He's been heavily involved this afternoon. How do you think Derek McInnes, Stephen, will be looking back in the first 45? I mean, I guess if Celtic haven't scored, he's going to be absolutely delighted, isn't he?
Yeah, I think take the scoreline out of it, which is, I mean, he's a very experienced manager. It's something he always speaks about, the performance, and I thought he was excellent at times in just saying, look, we won the game there, but we were rubbish. If we keep playing like that, the results won't come. And I think, I mean, he's walked down the tunnel with a yellow card. His frustration towards the referee were clear. So he'll maybe reflect on that. But I think the message will just be, go and do the same thing. If we don't concede a second goal here, we'll get something out of the game, because that's the way I think the game's going. I think Kilmarnock will score if it stays at 1-0. They've got a constant threat from set pieces, from open play. They've been really brave in terms of committing players forward. As I said, I think Corey and Daba's really taken the game to Nike Johnson as opposed to the other way around, which when you play against Celtic Rangers, that isn't often the case. The fullbacks don't take the games to the wingers, so just keep doing the same thing, make life difficult for Celtic, and there's something there for us.
I think what we have seen again, and as I mentioned, Pat, I saw them in midweek, it was a different kind of performance. They pretty well sat in, they were very well organised, and they didn't actually look to be in any great danger for most of the game against Aberdeen. They're kind of more on the front foot a bit, I think, this afternoon. But it's further evidence of what Derek McInnes has built there. You look through the team and it's just all good, solid, reliable professionals, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if you compare that to last year, I think they took a few drubbings last year. They were a bit more open. They didn't have the quality of player in. Remember at the start he struggled to get players in, but now he's at a season back with him, and you can see all his experience as a manager. This is how we're going to play, this is what we're going to have to do to survive, and they're really difficult. If you look at all the results that they've had, I think there was only the game against Celtic, the 3-1 at Celtic Park, but even the games that they won and they lost, it was almost like a goal of a difference, and that's how you hang in this league. You've got to try to turn those maybe draws into ones, but you don't take hammerings, and you're always in the game no matter what happens, and that's the key.
Yeah, but he's Stephen. I mean, I don't want to be negative. It's a lot of those guys from last year are my championship winning teammates, so I won't be negative on that. But what he has done is reduced the age of the team, the squad. You're writing out the team this morning. The oldest player in the team's a captain at 30. I mean, we had probably double figures in our 30s in Maspel only 2 years ago. You're looking through Lewis Mayo, 23, Robbie Dees, 23, Corey and Daba, 23. Obviously, David Watson can't play. So this is a team Derek McInnes, we speak about not selling Matt O'Reilly. Derek McInnes is building a team, not just for this season, but for the next couple of seasons, to keep building on this and to put Kilmarnock as a top 6. He wants them to think of Kilmarnock as a top 6 team. He's building a top 6 squad.
I've got to say, Dees, I know that they love them up the road, but he's really caught the eye. As you say, still a young player, but he looks like he's got everything that's needed to be a good, strong, solid centre-half.
Yeah, well, this club obviously didn't want to be a championship club a couple of years ago, but what it did give them is an eye on some of the players that it had to offer. And I thought Robbie Dees was the outstanding defender in the championship for the last few seasons before he came to Kilmarnock. And like Matt O'Reilly, in terms of for a club like Kilmarnock, he seemed to tick every box. He'd come through the system at Celtic, not quite happened for him, but he was 6 foot, left-footed, good athletically, good in the ball, aggressive, good team player. He seemed to tick every box, and I was surprised it was only Kilmarnock in for him. And they got in early, did their business, and what a find and what a signing he's been for Kilmarnock.
So Kilmarnock will be pleased with the performance, obviously disappointed to have lost that goal. From Celtic's point of view then, you just feel there's a bit more energy about them, and of course they're off the back. I know there's been a lot of talk about Celtic, how they're playing. They had the draw clearly a couple of weeks ago, but the other 3 wins during the recent run have been pretty convincing wins in terms of the goals scored and the scorelines. Yeah,
I think maybe the challenge for them is to try to, when teams sit back and they're strong defensively and they get bodies back in there, trying to break that up and create opportunities. They have done that today. There's no question about it. They look lively, but I think Celtic always need runners to go in behind defenders, stretch defenders, pull them around. If they're playing just in front, just keeping the ball, knocking the square back, then it becomes more difficult for them. But today they've been a nice balance between that, keeping the ball and getting in behind. I think O's showed quite well in around the edge of the box, and they played off him at times. They've got decent crosses in, good balls into areas. Goalkeepers had good saves to keep them out. So I think today they'll be very happy. I think the conditions do help them. There's no question that ball's moving around really quickly on this pitch. And I think, but they have to have energy, and if they play with intensity, I think Celtic are a really good team.
Remember all the highlights, all the action from the weekend in the Premiership on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel in the final hour of Sports. And we'll look back on yesterday's action. We'll mop everything up, of course, from Rugby Park. Lots to bring you still, including the second half live here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, where it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1. It's back to Stephen McGinn, Pat Bonner and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Richard. Kilmarnock facing successive home defeats for the first time since February 2021. Can they do something to change that? The performance in the first half suggests they absolutely could if they're bang at it. Celtic will look to assert their dominance on this second half as they aim to go 8 points clear once more, and Kilmarnock get us underway. Finlay goes long and it's headed forward towards Vassell. Palma stoops to head and Armstrong has come away with it and he's chipped it into the box. Kennedy's going to chase. He's shoulder to shoulder with Alistair Johnson, who does his job very well and runs behind for a Celtic goal kick. The first of another 6 more matches for Celtic to come before the winter break. They've obviously got the final game for their disappointing, you have to say, Champions League group campaign, home to Feyenoord. Brendan Rodgers saying it's not a dead rubber, they want to go out with a victory, and that's a short back pass for Kilmarnock, but Dennis just gets out and launches it clear ahead of Mikey Johnston.
That's the other option that Celtic have when O plays, is they can play that ball from the goal kick up into him, which he's got his head on that one, but he could actually even hold it in if the ball's played in properly to him.
Joe Hart goes long. Dees wins the header for Kilmarnock. Vassell beaten to the ball by Scales. Spins for Alistair Johnston, pursued by Kennedy, and he passes back to Joe Hart. And on to Nat Phillips. No changes at the break for either side. Stephen mentioned the yellow card for Derek McInnes, furiously protesting. Maybe a suggestion as well from a few around us in the homestand that Johnston's block might have come off an arm as he denied Ndaba in the first half as well. I'm sure he'll have a few things to say post-match, the Kilmarnock manager, but his team performing relatively well here. Well, they trail to Matt O'Reilly's first half goal. Mayo controls at the back, gives it to the goalkeeper Dennis, who goes long. Greg Taylor leaves it for Scales. It bounces though, and then Vassell slips as he goes after it. Then Scales collects, goes back to the goalkeeper. It's been a pretty scrappy start to the second half, but Celtic playing out from the back. Phillips chips it forward, but it's straight to Ndaba. Johnson tries to get back. There's a collision. Kennedy picks up on the left-hand touchline, comes in a few yards, passes to Polworth. Right foot to Donnelly in the middle of the pitch, midway through the Celtic half-back to Dees. Left foot along the AstroTurf to Mayo. Comes inside, thinks about the switch, gives it to Polworth in the middle of the pitch. Then to Finlay, who steps away from Johnston, and back outside with a pass to Ndaba. He's going to run at Alistair Johnson. Tries to go down the outside. Johnston strong and robust and wins the tackle, and then squeezes the pass. Falls for O'Reilly. Goes back to the goalkeeper. In the 6-yard box, Vassell comes across. Hart tries to give it to Palma, controls it on the thigh, and it's still bouncing about, and he gets it away to Phillips nicely in the D at the edge of his own box. Johnston, Kilmarnock getting men forward to pressure with Lyons, Kennedy and Vassell all up there on the Celtic back line, and it's a longer pass now for Johnston as Celtic get out their own penalty area. Back to Alistair Johnson, then to Iwata, back to Phillips, and Celtic forced back to their goalkeeper a couple of times in the opening 3 minutes.
Yeah, Kilmarnock pressing very, very high, 3-4 players, putting them under pressure, and Celtic just working their way out of it. But that's the danger then when you do beat the press. There's lots of space higher up the pitch.
Here's Palma down the left-hand side. He comes infield onto the right foot, leaves it for McGregor, who passes it into the box to O'Reilly. Back to goal, tries to return it to McGregor. Good challenge from Donnelly. And then it comes to Lyons, who hooks it out for a throw-in on the far side. Good defending in their penalty box from Kilmarnock. Better from Celtic, and Iwata doing what he's in the team to do there, which is winning the ball in midfield. He just pinched it and set them on the front foot. McGregor receives the throw in. He turns to face goal. He's out to the left-hand side, long distance from the goal, and Celtic go back to Scales. Switch with the left foot all the way over, takes one bounce, and then Johnson controls, knocks it down the line for O'Reilly to chase, but Finlay comes across and he then tries to pass it down the line, and he's found Vassell. Good pass, and then a back heel flick for Kennedy, who's got Iwata in front of him. Comes in field. Lyons is up looking to make the run. Kennedy just about stays on his feet and then takes the free kick for Kilmarnock, and they'll take that all day long. Good play, and it all started with that pass, Stephen, from Stuart Finlay.
Yeah, brilliant pass, and Matty Kennedy's just desperate to stay on his feet to play that next pass. They had a 2v2 with Celtic, and you speak about stopping counter-attacks and not getting a booking. It's an important one for Celtic there, but another chance for Kilmarnock to put it into Celtic's box here.
Kilmarnock free kick, and they go short to the left corner of the box, and Kennedy, and he's pulled it back to Polworth. Celtic rush out to close down the shot. They move it back to Kennedy on the left hand side. He's put it down to Armstrong, who's going to cross it into the 6-yard box. It's over the defender. Header comes on it, claims for a handball against Phillips. He clears it out for a throw on the far side. Nothing given. As the header came in, it hit off the Celtic defender. His arms looked by his side, but
I think it hit him on the knee. They will check it, but I think it came off his knee rather than his hand, but I'm sure they're going to check it.
And the Tannoy announces that the VAR, Greg Aitken and his team at VAR HQ will have another look at this. As Nat Phillips is another really floated delivery, no penalty, I should say. No penalty is the announcement. Play on. And Kilmarnock will have the throw on the far side. That was such a dangerous ball, Stephen, from Danny Armstrong.
Yeah, they just work it. I mean, it looked like they were setting up for Liam Polworth to have a shot. Obviously it was bare at the edge of the box, but their game plan is to work it out to these wide boys to get into the box.
And now the throw-in comes in from the far side. Scales gets ahead on it, falls for Donnelly, gives it back out to Kennedy on the far side. Comes in on the left foot, works the space, he's chipping it to the back post. Vassell's going to try and go after it, but he wasn't allowed to get there because Alistair Johnson nods it behind for a Kelly corner.
Yeah, it was a good ball, nice little ball, just took his time, just waited and waited, cut on the inside and clipped that little ball to the back post with a nice weighted pass, and Alistair Johnson had no other option but to knock it for a corner. Keeps the pressure on Celtic.
The rain pours down at Rugby Park, and it's the home side on the front foot. They trail by a goal to nil, 51.5 minutes played. Corner comes in, right foot of Polworth, again into the edge of the 6-yard box. Celtic head on it, is it? Yeah, out for a corner again on the far side. Just the ball's raining into that Celtic 6-yard area, and they're just holding on at the moment.
They've just got such a consistent quality coming into the box. It's always right into the middle of the box, and to defend against them you have to be bang at it every time, and a few really important headers from Celtic just to stop Kilmarnock getting a header in.
Polworth having a few words with Kennedy, saying you sit back, and he's going to lurk on the edge of the area in case it breaks to him. The corner's going to come in again, it's into the 6-yard box, gets a runner and it bounces, and it's just gone wide, and it's another corner. Kilmarnock really cranking up the pressure with these balls into the box.
Yeah, what they're doing really well, Kilmarnock too, is they're bunching up in a group. Very difficult to pick them up when they're like that. 3-4 players in around the penalty spot. You can see them again coming from the opposite side this time.
Third corner in a row. Polworth delivers from the near side with the right foot. Again, the header isn't from Celtic, and it breaks the edge. It's Kennedy. Armstrong helps it back in, blocked. In all the way back to Mayo, who's trying to run forward. Has to check back. There's a slip from the Celtic player. Donnelly plays it down the right touchline for Armstrong. And come in on the left foot to the near post. Phillips gets a good header on it, and then it's behind again for yet another Kilmarnock corner.
We spoke about Kilmarnock having to see out a spell in the first half, in the first 15 minutes. Celtic are going through that period at the time just now. Kilmarnock asking lots of questions of them.
It's all coming from set pieces, that's the point. It's not from open play.
And it's on the corner. Well, Danny Armstrong was winding up to take it, but he's been told to wait for now because...
But Celtic do eventually get it clear. Mikey Johnson's just sleeping.
I agree.
Kilmarnock are able to step back into the game and make Celtic defend again, and now they're back to square one and facing another corner.
Oh, this is not a good Derek McInnes team. Looks like aggressive. So difficult to defend against. And Dees gets the header on, and he's just put it past the near post. He can't believe it. He's trudging back into position. He flicked it the near post. Hart dived. It went beyond the goal frame, and it's still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
From where we're sitting, I thought that was in the back of the net. I thought Joe Hart had missed it, but it obviously is just the opposite side of the post.
Pass back to Joe Hart right on his goal line, and he has to shell it long, and Kilmarnock cranking up the pressure. But what a touch that is over his shoulder from O'Reilly. He loses the second ball though to Donnelly, and then it's a foul by Iwata in the middle of the pitch. But the home crowd getting into the game because their team are giving them something to shout about here.
They've been so aggressive. They're going man for man at the back. They're leaving a 3v3, and they're just really stepping onto Celtic, daring them to hit the high ball. They're coming on and winning it and attacking again.
Celtic, well, you have to say, hanging on a bit here. 54 played.
Yeah, they can't get hold of the ball, so that's the problem to control the game. You know, they're just keeping the ball. Kilmarnock putting it into areas, then getting their set pieces and putting the pressure on.
Long diagonal free kick towards Armstrong. Taylor gets the header on it, and it's going to go out for a throw in the far side. But you know that Brendan Rodgers, what he wants his teams to do is keep possession and build pressure through possession. He will be furious at this opening to the second period.
Yeah, but it's down to Kilmarnock stopping them from getting any good control of the ball. You know, pressurising them, keeping them in there. Winning their set piece, winning those throw-ins, corners, and then putting it into good areas.
Throw in to come on the far side from Armstrong. He launches it in against Kilmarnock, win first contact. It falls for Vassell, takes it on the turn and doesn't quite fall for Kennedy. And then again, Johnson's beaten to the ball, flicked up the Celtic end. Taylor's clearance is intercepted by Armstrong in the box. He tries to bend it into the far corner, but it's straight at Joe Hart, and the chance is gone. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1 it remains.
Stephen was quite right. You know, Mikey Johnson twice now, you know, sleeping. He's got to get to the ball first when they clear their lines. And if he's fouled, then foul. But don't allow the defender to step in front of him and keep the pressure on.
I mean, Brendan Rodgers speaks about being better tactically. It's moments like that. Nobody's ever questioned his ability. But football's not just about playing at Celtic Park and having all the ball. It's about doing your defensive jobs for the team.
And Kilmarnock get a free kick just inside Celtic territory. You can almost sense something in the air here at Rugby Park. Unless Celtic can shake themselves as Johnston wins the header. O'Reilly, it's again Donnelly straight in with a tackle and wins it. McGregor mops up but gives it to Dees, who launches it forward, and then Celtic get the free kick. McGregor caught late, and Celtic will just get a bit of breathing space, and boy do they need it. 56 played. Yeah, they lead by a goal to 0.
You see Brendan Rodgers on the edge of his area and kind of almost stimulating to get a hold of the ball. Just he's making the figure of a ball, get a hold of it, take the pressure off, and if they can't do that, then Kilmarnock just keeps coming at them.
Yeah, and Callum McGregor is bent double here. He's taking a little bit of a sore one, but it's just indicative of Kilmarnock that every time it broke to a Celtic player, there was a player straight on them, and Callum McGregor's limping rather heavily, which is of real concern.
Yeah, he doesn't do that too often, does he?
No, absolutely not. And he started over 50 games in a row since his last injury last autumn.
Yeah.
Played up to O, but he's beaten to it. Aggressive defender Finlay comes back up to O. This time he does win the flick onto O'Reilly, who tries to help it in behind, and Johnson in a foot race when Daba, the defender, wins it though and then hits it out for a throw in. And Mikey Johnson is looking a tad frustrated. Alistair Johnson will take the throw in, waiting for an option. Celtic been under pressure for the last 6 or 7 minutes. They have the ball up the other end where they want it, but Alistair Johnson not happy with the options he's got. He gives it to the chest of O'Reilly, back to Johnson, infield to Mikey Johnson, who's tackled by Kennedy, then into Daba, plays it up the line. Phillips steps in, gives it to O'Reilly, looks to flick it first time, but it's straight to Finlay. Left-footed pass, finds Vassell, and then his touch round the corner, only falls for Johnson. Back to Scales, but again Brad Lyons straight onto Liam Scales and forces him to go with a big pass out to the left, which goes straight out of the park. And Kilmarnock's pressure is just magnificent.
It was brilliant from Brad Lyons. He's read the pass back to Liam Scales, and before Liam Scales can even get his touch under control, he's immediately under pressure and makes him kick it straight out the park.
Throw into Kilmarnock on the halfway line. Mayo's going to take far side, flicked on. Phillips lets it bounce, controls, goes long through Taylor. Dees wins the header ahead of O, and it'll be a throw in for Celtic just about on the halfway line. And you wonder how long it'll be before Brendan Rodgers perhaps makes some changes.
Yeah, but that's not the way that Celtic are good when their teams come and try to press them, and they can play through the press or around the press, not just kicking the ball up to O. I know he's a big striker and so on, but it's got to be so accurate. When you're under pressure, that accuracy goes. So they just keep giving the ball away at the moment.
Well, he said to me pre-match, Brendan Rodgers, he said, you know, O brings a physical presence and they deserve to start today, but they didn't want to get sucked into just going direct the whole time. But you can see as well when Kilmarnock do it, they're used to that, and they get flick-ons, then there's people around them, but sometimes, you know, O doesn't win all that many, and when he does, there's sometimes not the bodies there. But here they go forward now as he does win 1-0, and it falls for O'Reilly, and it's blocked by Donnelly out on the far side. Celtic throw in.
That's the bits Packy's looking for, Brendan Rodgers is looking for, when he just almost uses his body to be awkward. He doesn't need to do anything clever. Just use your strength, use your power, and it's so hard for these defenders to win the ball just by the size of them.
Throw in to Celtic on the far side, just about 15 yards from the goal line, and then there's a foul in on the left hand side. Celtic free kick, and that will help the league leaders just take the sting out of the Kilmarnock pressure, which has been building for the first 15 minutes of the second half. But Matt O'Reilly's first half strike is still the difference between the sides.
It's amazing what goals can do. Speaking the first 15 minutes of the first half, Celtic getting frustrated with Kilmarnock buying fouls and killing the game, and Celtic have got their goal, and now they're able to do it to Kilmarnock in the second half.
It's going to be a Celtic free kick on the far side. Luis Palma is going to whip it in on the right foot, much like Armstrong's been doing all day, on top of the goalkeeper. It's exactly what he does. It's up in the air and it's bounced behind. Corner Celtic, and Kilmarnock claiming that was a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought it was a goal kick. I think it came off not Phillips' head. I think he was almost on the left side rather than his right side, and he's kind of almost had to kind of try to hook it with his head on target, and
corner to Celtic. They lead by a 1-0 against Kilmarnock, who have been very good, you would have to say, despite trailing. Corner comes in, it's low to the front post, flicked on, and Polworth clears up into the sky. Greg Taylor's back, that skims off his forehead as he looked to control it, and it falls for Armstrong. He tries to go round a Celtic player, it comes off him on the far side. Kilmarnock throw in, and Brendan Rodgers with his hood up amidst the downpour trudges back, looks at his bench, and no sign of any changes at the moment. There are some Celtic players down warming up in front of the travelling support away to our left, so we might see a couple of substitutions as Kilmarnock go back to their goalkeeper Will Dennis. A couple of touches, left foot long, it comes off Iwata's head. Scales, now Phillips, short square pass to Johnson, forward to Iwata, and fizzes the pass into Mikey Johnson, who's going to stretch the legs up towards the edge of the box. Finlay comes across, brilliant tackle, and it's behind for a corner. That's much better from Celtic, and Iwata especially.
I'll tell you what, Finlay, I think it was up against him. I thought Mikey Johnson was away and going to beat him for pace, but he got back.
Edge of the box now, Celtic go short with the corner, and they lose out through. It's Armstrong, brilliant stuff, and then he wins the free kick.
They're beating Celtic with aggression. That's exactly how that's the only thing you can describe. You know, Celtic are allowing them to take the ball off them at times, which is really surprising. You've got to get a ball away quicker and move that ball.
Yeah, and Brendan Rodgers did talk about that pre-match. He said they expected an aggressive Kilmarnock performance. The players in the second half at least haven't quite risen to that challenge, as Kennedy bobs and weaves on the left touchline, and he's managed to squeeze it down the line for Vassell to chase. Phillips comes across, he's not got much room to work with Vassell, and he hits it off Phillips. Throw in. Kilmarnock working with not much space, still managing to get throw-ins and free kicks and corners, and just being efficient with the ball. Here's Armstrong, receives the throw-in. and he's just run that out of play. Didn't have much room to work with, and it just a slightly heavy touch, and Celtic have the throw.
It's become a scrappy 5 minutes. I don't think Celtic overly mind it. I think the frustration for Kilmarnock is, after the initial bright start, the corners, they haven't made Joe Hart work enough. I think they'll be looking to obviously not give anything away and then have another real go at it last 20 minutes.
Mikey Johnson back to go, knocks it back to Nat Phillips, who's under pressure, and he's fired it up to O, who's controlled it, and he's turned away, but then is pulled back by Dees, which is probably fortunate for him because his touch was too heavy anyway. But nonetheless, it's a valuable free kick for Celtic as they get up the pitch, just over halfway. Iwata goes short to Phillips. You're listening to Sports Sounds live on BBC Radio Scotland across the frequencies and Sounds online. And Phillips under pressure from Vassell and Lyons gets a foot in, and now he's back to Donnelly and Kennedy on the left hand side. Johnson comes out, makes a tackle, Alistair Johnson, and you have to say Alistair Johnson's one of the few who's probably matched the Kilmarnock aggression with his tackles, and he's actually won the throw in. Back to Phillips, takes a touch with the studs, and now Kilmarnock have a player down. And
Liam Donnelly.
It's
something that's plagued him for the last few years. He's really struggled to have a consistent run of games without being injured, and it's really frustrating to see him down again.
Yeah, I remember when he was first kind of burst onto the scene at Motherwell, and he was a goal-scoring midfielder getting forward and in the Northern Ireland squad.
But I think it'll force Derek McInnes's hand, and I think we'll see Mally Watkins come on, and Celtic will need to deal with Mally Watkins and Kyle Vassell.
Do you think he would play two up front at this stage?
Yeah, I do. I think it's the obvious thing. The amount of balls they're getting in the box, they're getting joy. Celtic aren't really pinning them back. It's time probably to have that throw of the dice enforced with Liam Donnelly's injury.
He's down on the AstroTurf now. Liam Donnelly hiding from us behind behind a pillar, but he's down. Physio giving him some treatment.
I think if the game is still scoreless, we'd probably see Ronan McKenzie.
Right.
He does a different type of job and more of a containing Celtic. But when you're needing a goal, and he did it at times this season, he's went with Vassell and Watkins, and a real threat, a good partnership. So a different type of problem for Celtic to deal with.
Yeah, I just thought maybe that sort of gave up midfield a little bit, and what the players at Celtic have in midfield, they've been really good, almost man for man in there, and jumping out of that position to go and press Celtic, and that's worked really well for them in the second half. To change maybe the shape a little bit now, you might see Celtic kind of maybe almost playing through them a little bit. That's the challenge.
We were bang on, Stephen, because Marley Watkins has come on, and Kilmarnock give the ball back to Celtic after that break in play, and Joe Hart chips it to Taylor, and again they're beaten to it, and then it falls for Watkins in the box. Can he take it under control? He gets a touch on it, but it
offside.
Falls for Hart, and the flag goes up belatedly for offside.
Yeah, it was just a poor ball from Joe Hart, high up into the air, give the Kilmarnock player the opportunity to go and win the ball.
I think Celtic are so not used to playing the long ball, they're almost trying to be precise with it, under hitting it, but it's easy for the Kilmarnock players to come on and just be really aggressive and head it back down their throats.
And now it's helped in behind for Vassell to chase Scales. Vassell blocks, it breaks fortunately back for Scales, fizzes up to O'Reilly. Not the best touch, it was an awkward one, but he's managed to just get to it second time around. Knocks it back to Taylor, it goes to Joe Hart, the goalkeeper, and Celtic just unable to play out. When they go long, they lose the header, and when they go short, the Kilmarnock front line are just on them like a rash. Infield to Iwata, into Phillips, Hart in the 6-yard box, Watkins comes across, they go long, and it's Mikey Johnson up against Ndaba. Johnson does back in and win it this time. O'Reilly, left foot, spins towards Palma, who controls. He's spinning away from Armstrong, and he's driving infield towards the edge of the penalty box now. Palma then passes to O'Reilly, back to Iwata, first time to McGregor, who seems to have shaken off that knock that he took about 6 or 7 minutes ago. Here he is, the Celtic captain, passes infield. Palma midway through the Kelly half, he's going to drive to the edge of the box, then helps it to the left hand side for Taylor. It's floated in on top of the goalkeeper Dennis, who takes it just at the back post and falls to the deck, and it's still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1, 67 minutes played.
Yeah, it was a good take by the goalkeeper. Obviously it was a floaty ball all the way to the back post. He picked up a good position, middle of his goal, moved his feet and took the pressure off his defence.
It looks like there may be a change here. Yang is warming up, and it's breaking for Watkins inside the box. He's still got Phillips in front of him, gives it back out to Armstrong, runs towards the edge of the penalty. He's got two Shots in front of him, almost squares it for Vassell. Celtic get a foot on the ball, and then it goes for Taylor on the left-hand touchline. Low left foot pass, touches it, and then he's played it for O'Reilly in behind. O'Reilly's got a bit of space in front of him. Finlay's got good pace to get back. It's O'Reilly in the edge of the box onto the right foot, and he puts it by the post. Chance for Celtic. Better build up, and O'Reilly on his weaker side drags it wide.
It's much better from He's a target. He's somewhere that Greg Taylor's under a bit of pressure. He can find him, he holds it in well, and he spins and he plays Matt O'Reilly in. Stuart Finlay does great to get back. He's got brilliant recovery pace and makes it a bit more difficult for Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah, that's the best bit of play from O in the game. You know, his touch was good. He spun. He's seen the run from O'Reilly, played him in. O'Reilly, if that was on his maybe left foot, he might have had a better chance. He's just almost scooped it across the goal rather than strike it.
And he's just won a free kick as well from Robbie Dees.
But what was interesting there is that O'Reilly found himself free, and that's what I was saying about the midfield. Now you'll have maybe a player who's free in that middle of the pitch, and if they can exploit that, Celtic, then it might cause problems for Kilmarnock.
Mikey Johnston, his afternoon is done, and Hyunjin Yang is going to come on and try and liven up Celtic. The rain really is tumbling down here, bucketing down in Kilmarnock, but it is the league leaders and champions who lead by a goal to nil. Matt O'Reilly's first half strike is the difference, although it's been far from convincing in the second half. Kilmarnock being the better side, you have to say. And here's Yang with his first touch, skips away from Ndaba, gives it to Johnston, who comes infield into O in the penalty box, touches it to McGregor, who goes with the left foot to Yang on the right touchline, and he's played it down for Johnston to make the run, but again Kennedy works ever so hard to get back, gets his body in front of the ball, and it runs behind for a goal kick.
He's did that brilliantly all day. Alistair Johnston's constantly tried to do that, the overlap and the underlap. Matty Kennedy's matched him stride for stride all day. What a teammate that is, honestly, for all the good stuff he does in that, but being that reliable to do that all game.
His turn and cross for David Watson, his winner to Tawdry, was brilliant as well. The other night, it's been a great signing. Someone Derek McInnes knows well from his time at Aberdeen, and it's back to Hart. Goes long. O's scrambling across, doesn't get there. Finlay heads it up into the air. McGregor wins the seconds. Palma touches it to McGregor. It's cannoned off the Celtic captain, and Dees will get there. Knocks it back to his goalkeeper Dennis, who goes high and long up to halfway. Vassell backing him to Scales, gets a touch on it. Kilmarnock want a free kick for some arms by Liam Scales, and then it's chipped towards the edge of the box. Again, Celtic just about deal with it, and then it's up to McGregor on the halfway line, and again he slipped it to O'Reilly, who then touches it on to Yang, who's come from deep right hand corner of the box. He's one-on-one with Ndaba, comes infield on the left foot, shot blocked, it spins, it's now with Palma, who strikes with the right foot. Dennis gets down low to his right hand side and saves comfortably enough, but it was on target. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, again, you know, a couple of free players now in the middle of the pitch. McGregor that time playing into O'Reilly, just a little bit more space and more freedom from him. So it's almost 3v2 in there.
Yeah, you're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Highlights of this game and the 5 yesterday on Sports Scene, BBC Scotland channel. 7:15 later. As Kilmarnock look for Kennedy on this left hand side, but it goes out for a Celtic throw in, and the referee blows a whistle because there's 2 balls on the pitch. Phillips knocks it away. Yeah, Sports Scene can catch that on iPlayer, of course, as well as Goals Plus if you just want the goals. Plenty of big talking points on the weekend. Rangers winning at Dundee, big win for Aberdeen late on against Hearts as well. Hibs beating Livingston. Motherwell's late equaliser at St Johnstone. And Celtic at the moment on course for another victory, but Kilmarnock have been excellent in the second half. 72 minutes played, and again the ball is won by Mayo. Looks to play it up the line to Watkins, but good challenge in from a Celtic point of view, prevents the counter, and it's out for a throw in to Kelly on the far side. Brendan Rodgers out of his technical area, watches on. He can't be happy with what he's seen in the second half. As you say though, Kilmarnock, you've got to credit the Kilmarnock performance.
Absolutely, and if you're going to play against Celtic and you're going to stop them controlling the game, that's what you've got to do, and every single one of the Kilmarnock players have gone about their business in that aggressive manner and really pressed them, and that stops Celtic from dominating the game, and then you have a bit of a chance. Now you take a risk, of course, and that, but from that point of view it's worked, although they haven't got the goal, Kilmarnock.
And that's the crucial thing. They've had chances. The Armstrong one in the first half off the post and bar. The Ndaba one that was blocked by Johnston. And a header from Dees as well in the second half, which he flicked just past the near post. Can't say they haven't had opportunities. And makes a difference. But the Kilmarnock progress this season is evident. The start of this round of fixtures, 5 points better off than they were after 16 games last season. They've obviously got an away win on the board, which they didn't at this stage last season as well. As Vassell controls it on the halfway line, tries to spin, and he gets the free kick. And ironic applause and cheers for the home faithful in this main stand at Rugby Park, all hunkered down, protected from the miserable conditions out there. It is pouring with rain. Here's Kennedy, his right foot, big switch out to the left corner of the box. Dees wins the flick on. Here's Armstrong, one-on-one. Celtic get two back with Palma and Taylor wins the tackle, gives it to Palma, and then Palma jinks away and clears it, but it's only as far as Finlay, who helps it back towards the edge of the Celtic box. Celtic win it, O'Reilly, and he's missed it, and then Phillips steps onto it and clears it up, but Polworth is back, and he's, well, I don't know what he's in two minds about whether to clear it or bring it down, and he's just put it straight out for a throw-in.
I'm so surprised that one of the big strengths he brings to the Kilmarnock team is his calmness, his quality in the ball. I'm so surprised he didn't even try and bring it down there.
Liam Polworth, quality player. Remember, he got those 11 assists for Motherwell in the Premiership in 1920. He's got quality on the ball, and here he is as he stays composed this time and knocks it to Armstrong on the right wing, who finds Watkins, who traps it and then knocks it to the right hand side. The cross is going to come in, and it's turned into his own net. It's an own goal. Kilmarnock have an equaliser. I think it's Nat Phillips who's turned it beyond Joe Hart. It was a brilliant ball across the box. Celtic went sliding in. It's come off Phillips beyond Hart, and Kilmarnock deservedly, you have to say, are level. Kilmarnock won, Celtic won.
It's brilliant. They've did it all day. They've been so aggressive with the pressing. They've won the ball back. They've committed bodies. And Brad Lyons has just asked a question for his Kilmarnock strikers or to the Celtic defenders. Can you score this or can you defend it? Nat Phillips can do neither, and he turns it into his own net. He's looked uncomfortable at times today, and he's put it into his own net.
Yeah, it was brilliant bit of play from Marley Watkins initially, taking that ball on the stride and then laying that ball wide. But the ball in was superb, was real pace. I'm not going to point too much at Nat Phillips on that occasion, because he's had to go for it. He's sliding along the deck in these wet conditions, and if he's knocked it wide, it would have been a brilliant interception. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it and knocked it past Joe Hart from that perspective, but it puts Kilmarnock right in this game, and this game can go either way here now.
Yeah, it's winnable. The message will be from Derek McInnes: don't change, keep doing it, because they can definitely win this game. This is Celtic haven't come out the second half and played, and Kilmarnock have been so aggressive, and the belief must be there that they can go and win this game.
Keogh goes on for Celtic as Brendan Rodgers goes straight to his bench, and it's Iwata who's come off, so it looks like it'll be two up top for Celtic in the final 14 minutes plus whatever's added in the end of the game. Kilmarnock, what a second half performance. They've almost just run over the top of Celtic with their aggression, their power, but also their quality when they have got the ball, and then it's long from the goalkeeper. Vassell goes to chase it, but it's miles away from him and skips into the arms of Joe Hart. Well, this definitely puts the cat amongst the pigeons here, and Celtic being held, and they are unbeaten. Kilmarnock, as we say, will fancy this, and they're knocking it about. Watkins almost lays it into the path of Lyons, but it's short. Here's Yang, gives it to Callum McGregor, drives forward to the halfway line in the centre circle. He gives it with a left foot out to Palma on the left wing, comes inside Mayo, but it's a heavy touch, and Armstrong was doing the work, and he was offside anyway as the flag belatedly goes up, and Kilmarnock just seem to have Celtic right where they want them at the moment.
Yeah, he shouldn't be offside there. Palma, he's looking across the line, and he's got all the time in the world just to step onto an onside position, and he's cut offside. Even though he's given the ball away secondly, the first part of it, he shouldn't be offside.
Will Dennis will take this free kick just outside his own penalty area. Finally poised at 1-1, and it's again Kilmarnock on the flick on, and it almost falls for Watkins, who's now putting pressure on at the corner flag, and it's come off him and out for a Celtic throw right next to the corner flag. Nat Phillips, whose own goal brought Kilmarnock level just a few moments ago.
This game actually reminds me of many years ago, the type of games that we used to play. Gung-ho, no real top quality passing and movement. It was just two teams at it. It's
Scottish football at its best, but it's great to watch. Gripping stuff. Huge credit to Kilmarnock for the way they fought back in this second half. It's not as if they were poor in the first either. Here's Hart, the Celtic keeper. And to watch that go beyond him from Phillips. Taylor up the line, he's caught late, Greg Taylor. There's going to be a yellow card for Armstrong, who's going to get booked as well, and he's taken a sore one in the process.
Yeah, he's come out worse himself. He was late again, getting in on the ball.
Yeah, and he's in a lot of pain here, Danny Armstrong. And the yellow card is out. He's still down on the deck, and that'll be of concern to Derek McInnes. He's already had to make one enforced change, and Liam Donnelly went off, and Marley Watkins came on. And he's speaking to his physios, and looks like Armstrong's back up and he's okay. Maybe just try to avoid that yellow card, but it was always coming. Here, Scales back to Joe Hart. Celtic just haven't got any sort of passing going at all as Kilmarnock put the pressure on again. Here's Scales. He's under immediate pressure, has to go back to the goalkeeper on the byline, and then Joe Hart forced to go the long route. Goes up, loses out to Dees, flicked forward by Polworth for Vassels. Phillips steps in and makes the challenge, breaks back for Polworth, and then Polworth wins the free kick just outside the centre circle. And Matt O'Reilly is so frustrated that Celtic with no control of this game as they would like due to Kilmarnock's aggression, front foot approach, and they'll sniff a chance for another victory, a second of the season potentially, against Celtic here at Rugby Park after that League Cup win. And it would be a first league win against Celtic in 14 attempts. Armstrong crosses, flicked on, Celtic don't deal with it. Finlay, it's bouncing about, gets a strike on, but he had to, or could only really help it up in the air, and it was comfortable for Hart to take with no pace. And the away fans getting frustrated as Hart has to delay his throw out, but it does come out to McGregor, then to Scales, but Celtic just seem trapped in their own half as Johnston's under pressure again. Then Kilmarnock step onto the game, and Polworth. It's Celtic recycle though, and takes it, but he's fallen over as he takes it, tries to receive Taylor's pass, and it's not falling, and now the long ball, and Watkins chases. Phillips gets someone on it, but it hits off Watkins. He's got it on the left corner of the box. He leaves it for Kennedy, in fact. 1-on-1 with Johnston. Matty Kennedy gets to the byline. Cross comes in. Vassell's in there. Breaks for Watkins. He prods it over the bar. It was a difficult one as it bounced off the turf, but he should probably hit the target, and Kilmarnock are creating the chances at the moment.
Yeah, they're the likely winner. I think Marley Watkins has got to do better there. I don't know if it surprises him the way it comes to him, but it's a major let off for Celtic there.
And the referee's not happy with it. Celtic goal kick. 81 minutes played.
Yeah, I think they just encroached a little bit too quick, trying to close down, but they're certainly on their front foot, Kilmarnock, and
this time collects it off the chest and he's spun. It's out to the right hand side, and Yang drives to the edge of the box. He's cut it across, and O'Reilly was in there, cleared by Ndaba. Kennedy, Ndaba clears it down the left touchline, and Watkins, Kilmarnock just full of running, and Watkins tries to go round Scales, who gets a sliding challenge in. Kilmarnock throwing. The home fans are on their feet, they're roaring their team on.
I'll tell you what, Derek McInnes has got some effort out of these players. I don't know what he said at half time, but certainly the aggression and the running power from throughout the team has been quite incredible. And he took that risk of putting two up front. I did say maybe midfield that they might give it up, and it looked like that for a while, but they've got the goal through good play from Marley Watkins. So the risk has paid off.
James Forrest is going to come on in a minute for Celtic as Cal McGregor intercepts that throw-in, and Lyons gets the header into the Celtic box, bounces, and Scales clears it with the left foot. Dees comes across, first time bounces, and again it falls to a Kilmarnock player in Armstrong, who flicks it for Kennedy, who wins the header ahead of Johnston, and then he gets the foul as Johnston contacted him, and then Johnston's signalling for the physio. I think Matty Kennedy is It looks like he's been completely dazed here, because it doesn't look good down in front of us. Johnson immediately called for the physio, and he's been booked as well. Alistair Johnson.
Yeah, I think he realised that he didn't make contact with the ball and he's headed. I don't think there was any intent really on it, but certainly he caught the player, and he's gone down. So right away he asked for somebody from the bench to come and deal with it.
Yeah, that wasn't a nice watch there. Kennedy, he is moving, his legs are moving about, but he looked very groggy. And the Celtic change is being made. Luis Palma is jogging off the wet pitch, and James Forrest is coming on. Scored the third goal at McDermott Park a week ago.
There'll be a real discussion here whether you try and get Kennedy back on, or do you just make the sub? There's so little time to go. Do you just get the 11 men back on the pitch? He looks very dazed.
They're going to take the free kick. It's into the near post, and Kyogo is in there with a header, and he had to nod it over his own bar. Kennedy's back on it. Well,
I don't think he looks great at all. They're walking back on.
I'm not sure it sends the best message that, head injuries, got to take them seriously. And Kennedy, he's now holding his head, holding his face. It doesn't look great. Corner comes in though for Kilmarnock. Header on it from Watkins, but it almost spun off his back out to the far side. It's come back to Lyons, who's tried to cross. O'Reilly blocks, but it's Kilmarnock asking all the questions. We've played 84 minutes. It's Kilmarnock 1, Celtic 1. Yeah, Kennedy, I wonder if they'll reconvene and reconsider. He's down in front of us.
He looks a bit better now. That was another half chance for Kilmarnock. They certainly make you defend, always into a good area, and there's always people willing to attack the ball.
Celtic win it right hand side of their own box. McGregor helps it through to Forrest, lays it to O, and then gives it first time to Taylor. Left foot pass. Forrest was falling, and Celtic players, a few players have fallen over, and then Johnson thumps it off Lewis Mayo and out for a throw in.
Yeah, Thomas, it is the pitch. If you don't play that ball to feet and you've gone beyond the ball and you try to check back, there's no chance. You've got no chance.
Throw in. And Kilmarnock the fans you can see some of them on their feet down in front of us, signalling that a few yards have been stolen here. Thrown to O'Reilly, round the corner to Scales, but it spins away from him off the slippery surface. Scales across to Phillips, and to Johnston, and up the line to Yang, infield, but it's intercepted again by Lyons. Up to Watkins, Kennedy twisting and turning. He's tried the little scoop pass, and then Watkins is claiming he was fouled, and he's going to get it, claiming he was blocked by Nat Phillips. And the free kick is given left hand side, and another chance for Kilmarnock.
He's been brilliant since he came on, Mally Watkins, and Nat Phillips just hasn't been able to handle him all day. He's looked very uncomfortable, and going to the two strikers has just really edged it in Kilmarnock's favour, and they look like the ones that can go on and win this game.
Celtic with just really one chance in this second half, the O'Reilly one that he dragged wide, and Kilmarnock with another opportunity to put the ball in the box. 86 minutes played, it's 1-1, and it's Polworth with the right foot to deliver to the back post. Hart gets there and claims it in his 6-yard box. Good goalkeeping, and then he rolls it out to Callum McGregor. McGregor left foot tries to go direct, but it's blocked again by Armstrong. Armstrong and Kennedy have been so good at getting back, and now he's driving forward. Armstrong tackled, Taylor comes away with it, then gives it to O'Reilly. He's out middle of the pitch. He's got Johnston on the overlap, right corner of the box, crossed in, and Daba gets a foot on it. It's up in the air. Polworth controls it, and then he switches the play along the deck out to the other side, and here's Armstrong. We've got Kennedy surging into the box. Armstrong up to the edge. He slips into Matty Kennedy. It's in! It's in! Goal Kilmarnock! Matty Kennedy slips it beyond Joe Hart. And you can't say they haven't deserved it. It's been coming. The pressure has been building in the second half. Oh, what a comeback from Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock 2, Celtic 1.
You could see it coming all the way. As soon as they defend the cross, they're the ones that are running forward. Liam Polworth has put his foot in the ball. He's found a good pass out to Danny Armstrong, and then Celtic are in big bother. They play that great weighted run from Matty Kennedy, a great weighted pass from Danny Armstrong, and he just dinks it over Joe Hart to make it 2-1 to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, Celtic committing, of course. trying to get the goal, leaving two at the back, and then they don't deal with it when the ball pops out, and they were totally exposed down the right hand side. But it's got a really good goal from Kilmarnock. 2-3 players getting into the box, and Celtic losing at the end. I've got to say, 87 minutes gone. If they come back into this game, considering the second half, it'll be a major achievement, but I can't see it happening.
What
but you never know from the Celtic team. It never over till it's over. Eh?
What a second half performance this has been from Kilmarnock, but they'll know only too well as Celtic go to the death. And here's Forrest. He slips in behind for Kyogo for a she's saved by Dennis. Behind for a corner.
It was a very similar move to the goal Kilmarnock scored. Brilliant run from Kyogo and a great save from Will Dennis.
Oh my word, I just nearly took the words out of my mouth earlier on. Great run from Kyogo, good save from the goalkeepers.
Corner from the far side into the 6-yard box, cleared by Kilmarnock, and the home fans can't believe what they're seeing. Are they about to witness consecutive home victories over Celtic? They beat Rangers here as well on the opening day. Tennant McInnes' side given a huge performance, but they've still got a job to do. 89 on the clock, they lead 2-1. Alistair Johnson forward, left by Kyogo for but the flag is up against the Celtic striker. Well, that just about sums up his afternoon. And it's a free kick to Kilmarnock.
No, listen, Kilmarnock have been the dominant team in the second half. Their aggression has been incredible, and they're closing down, their effort, and so on. So it's been a really good performance from them. From Celtic's perspective, not good enough in the second half when they were really put under pressure. They couldn't come up with any of the answers.
Matty Kennedy came across and was speaking to Alan Archibald, one of the Killie coaches there. I'm not sure they were saying him coming off or what, but here's Polworth. Killie lose out, and Johnston side foots it long. O's going to go after it. Will Dennis is there and just gets the foot to it as O was bearing down on him, and it's out for a Celtic throw. It's hit the Rugby Park roof. 8 minutes of stoppage time, and Derek McInnes puts his arms in the air, smiles and turns to the home fans. He's having a word with the force official. He can't believe where the 8 minutes are coming from, but they have gone up on the board, and Celtic have 8 minutes to try and rescue a point at least. Having taken the lead in the first half, Kilmarnock have completely turned this game around in one of the performances of the season from any club in the Premiership. Here's James Forrest on the left-hand touchline. Low pass up towards O, cut out, cleared down the pitch, throw in. And Celtic, well, they've just not had the answer so far to Kilmarnock's aggression, their quality, their tough tackling as well, just winning everything, the attitude. And Celtic conjure something as they've done so often over the years. It's a long ball over the top for Yang, he gets something on it and he's clattered into by Stuart Finlay. Free kick to Celtic on the right corner of the box, and
he must have given it.
And I don't know if he's just stopped the game for a head knock or he's actually given the foul here, the referee David Monroe. But Yang is down. And Stuart Finlay, I think, is coming across to the near side linesman to ask if that foul has been given. He's having a word.
It's the way sometimes with these pitches, the ball just bounces up. Stuart Finlay's came over to, and it's bounced up a bit higher than you would expect in a grass pitch, and he's just caught him with his forearm right flush to the face.
Yeah, I would like to see that one again, whether the two of them was going. Yang committed himself. It was a difficult ball. Normally a winger would probably pull out of that, but the way the game has gone, he had to go for it. To be fair, he was brave, and I'm not sure whether it's going to be a free kick, or is it just going to be one of these where he's stopped the game because it's a head knock.
Yeah, Yang's still down. Well, he's just sat up, and physios are attending to him, and it looks like there's activity on the Kilmarnock bench as well. Rory McKenzie speaking to Alan Archibald, getting some instructions off a notepad down in the dugout, so he's going to come on. I wonder if Matty Kennedy, who could well be the match winner, might be the one to make way, because he's still clutching the side of his face, really, Matty Kennedy. And you never know, he may well have scored that goal concussed to some sort of level, we don't know, but he's still on the pitch, and Yang is limping off. He's on his feet, and
I don't think the referee gave the foul. I don't know if he's going for a drop ball, if they're having a look at it. I'm not sure what's going on here.
But who do you drop the ball to? Do you drop it to Celtic? Do you drop it to Kilmarnock?
Yeah, that's what the Celtic players are asking the referee. Like Cal McGregor and O are saying, you know, it should be our ball. It's going to be a bounce ball, so it's just stopped for the head knock. And it's dropped to Kilmarnock, and they clear it long out for a throw-in. And Celtic, well, we've played 3 of the 8 added minutes, but realistically there's going to be a lot more than that, and it's going to be Robbie Dees, I think, who's coming off for.
I think that must be a mistake. I think they've got 6 and 9s the wrong way around.
I know, because they're coming across
and take off your
centre half for a midfielder. I know. Robbie Dees he was looking at it going, "Are you joking? Are you joking me?" It's Kyle Vassell who is coming off. The 6 definitely went up on the board.
I mean, Derek McInnes has been really brave there, but that would have been taking a bit too far.
Yeah, that would take it to a whole new level. Taking off one of your centre halves for a midfielder, but it is Kyle Vassell, who again has just run the channels, won flick-ons, balls all day long. He just brings so much to this Kilmarnock side, as well as his goals as well. Not on the score sheet today, but he's done so much. And Dava clears, Scales, left foot till Riley loses out the challenge. Breaks for McKenzie, is just on. Back to Findlay, who goes long. Phillips, header, McKenzie. Back to Phillips. Again, it's unconvincing at the back from Celtic. Just haven't been able to get going at all in the second half. Scales is caught. It's the free kick.
I think the unconvincing nature of Phillips has gave Kilmarnock the encouragement. Constantly looking shaky, and it encourages you just to get right after Celtic.
Yeah, he looks like a player that hasn't played much. You know, that's basically it. And
well, that's on. Just as you said that, Packy, he spins one off the outside of his boot first time, straight out for a throw-in. I mean,
I just think the Celtic have spent a lot of money in Navroki and Lagerbielke, and you think, how can they be that much worse than a short-term loan signing?
Well, listen, both of them been injured, but Navroski's on the bench today, and he hasn't featured, obviously.
Phillips, again under pressure, falls for O'Reilly, who heads it back to Joe Hart, who's played 5 of 8 added minutes, but there will be more than that because of that head knock to Yang. And here's Hart. Kilmarnock leading Celtic by 2-1, coming from a goal down. An own goal from Phillips and Matty Kennedy to put them in front. And falls from McGregor, controls it, gives it to Scales at the back for Celtic. Scales goes long up to left foot, but he's got no one near him, but he does well to win the header. Nod it behind to Forrest, who's miscontrolled it, and he's just kept it in on the left touchline. He's got Mayo for company, and then loses it, and then Dees clears it off a Celtic player. It falls for Armstrong, who just run all day down this right-hand side. He's over the halfway line, and Forrest has to go back and win the throw-in. It's just relentless from Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I know the natives, the home fans are so upset with the 8 minutes added, but they're just seeing it out so comfortably. The game is so in their favour. They're playing so aggressively, so confidently, that they're just seeing this game out in Celtic's half.
And Kilmarnock, if it stays like this, they'll go above Hearts on goal difference into 5th position in the Premiership. And that's exactly where they want to be this season, as Mayo takes the throw in down the line. Greg Taylor's header up towards Dees again wins the challenge. It's just the Kilmarnock defenders and midfielders just getting in front of their opposite number every time to win the first contact.
Yeah, I think that's been a feature of the game. You know, you've seen it, you spoke about Mikey Johnson being on the pitch, and that and aggression has really stopped him from having any impact on the game whatsoever. But you've got to be sharp, you've got to be at it, you've got to create space for yourself, all of those things. Your brain has to work very, very quickly if you're up against that aggression, and it hasn't for Celtic today.
Here's
especially in the second half.
Watkins on the right hand side next to the corner flag, and he's won another Kilmarnock throw in. Celtic's unbeaten start to the Premiership season, 16 games unbeaten, on the verge of ending here at Rugby Park, unless they can find something in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Polworth, McKenzie, right hand side, he's trying to work for space for a cross, or maybe he's just trying to win a corner or throw in, which he does. He wins a throw in, I should say, and Armstrong will take it, and they're not going to be launching this into the box. I'm just going to throw it to Polworth. Gives it back to Armstrong. And he wins another throw-in. This is expertly done at the moment from Kilmarnock, just keeping the ball right where they want it. We've nearly played the 8 minutes. As I mentioned, the Yang injury means it'll be a couple more, I think.
This is a team that can win 1-0. They're comfortable with this. They're comfortable seeing out results. They're confident with it almost. It's something that Derek McInnes wanted to bring to the team. He wanted you to enjoy winning 1-0. These periods of seeing games out.
Well, certainly, as Aberdeen teams used to relish that, and not often did they concede. And again, it's long to Armstrong. Celtic just can't get the ball at all here. And again, Armstrong wins a throw-in. It's just fantastic for everyone in blue and white.
Absolutely. What they've done really well, Kilmarnock, throughout this second half especially, is that they've really committed to the ball, and they forced Celtic to play long balls or balls that maybe were 50-50 balls, and then they've got after that one and won it back, and that's been the difference in the second half from them.
And it's Celtic throw-in this time on the far side. Will they get one more chance? They've only really created 2 in this second half. O'Reilly with 1, Kyogo denied by Dennis. But again, Kilmarnock just win the ball. Celtic want the free kick, they get it through Taylor. Kilmarnock pressure from the front line. I mean, something to behold. And Joe Hart is asking his players to get up, and Kilmarnock are readying a double change down in front of us. Fraser Murray is one of them, and Mackay-Stephen is the other. And Kilmarnock get a free kick. Armstrong wins it in his own half. Celtic shoulders slump, and this double change is going to be made. Gary Mackay-Stephen is going to come on against his former club, as is Fraser Murray. And changes, I think it's going to be Matty Kennedy, who could well turn out to be the match winner. And he's walking off. He's in the centre circle. He's in no rush. Quite rightly, he's getting a standing ovation from all at Rugby Park. Is his goal going to give Kilmarnock their second win of the season against Celtic? Gary Mackay-Stephen walks on. Good moment for him. Got this short-term deal till January. Not played since he came on for Hearts against Fiorentina in the Conference League last autumn. And he's on for the final, what must be just a minute and a half maybe. We've played the 8, in fact we've played about 10 added minutes. So if Kilmarnock can see this phase of play out, you would think that this would be game over, as Mayo goes long into the box. Celtic header, Forrest goes back, squeezes it to Greg Taylor, little touch, there's the full-time whistle! The fans jump to their feet at Rugby Park, fists in the air. It's understated from the Kilmarnock players on the pitch. Some hugs now, some handshakes. They inflict the league leaders' first Premiership defeat of the season in what will be one of the best performances you'll see from any side in the Premiership this season. They trailed in the first half to Matt O'Reilly's 9th Premiership goal. He turned in the rebound from Callum McGregor's shot, but in the second half, Kilmarnock have just been utterly magnificent, winning every tackle, every second ball, being composed when they've had the possession. And Watkins' cross was turned beyond Joe Hart by Nat Phillips for an own goal. That brought Kilmarnock level, and even then you sensed that there was going to be a winner the way it was going. Stephen McGinn said it in commentary, it was going to be Kilmarnock. They never just sat off and said, we'll be content with a point against the champions. They kept flying into tackles, they kept getting up the park, and Matty Kennedy went through, brilliant move, and stroked it beyond Joe Hart, and then they held it out in complete comfort, you would have to say. Celtic maybe had one chance where Kyogo came off the bench, he was played in behind and forced Dennis into a save, but other than that, there was really nothing from Celtic. They could barely get out of their own half, and that was all down to Kilmarnock's aggression, their pressure, and what has just been an absolutely brilliant performance. Derek McInnes on the pitch, he shakes Joe Hart's hand, and there are question marks for Brendan Rodgers and his team. Yes, it's a first defeat, but it's the 4th time they've dropped points this season. Their lead over Rangers is just 5 points, and Rangers have a game in hand now as well, with an Old Firm derby to come before the turn of the year. It's getting oh so interesting at the top, but Kilmarnock are surging up the table. They're up to 5th, and they deserve every moment of these celebrations as the players punch there in front of the fans as they go down the tunnel. What a magnificent display from Derek McInnes and his team. It's finished Kilmarnock 2, Celtic 1.